Chapter 768 Glory Territory Old Wei, Shuang, between Lin Feng and Huashan, who do you think will be promoted to the Glory team first? Jin asked. Huashan. Wei Xingyuan was unhappy. Yuan Shuang looked at Wei Xingyuan. Because Lin Feng caused you to lose 100,000 points? Wei Xingyuan frowned. I'm just speaking the truth. Although Lin Feng didn't test his strongest attack and hit his strength, his overall combat strength score is at most around 5,000 points. He's already very lucky to be able to enter the top 20. Huashan is known as the strongest ace soldier after Lightman. He became the vice-captain of the Kuwait team as a soldier. His current score is at 5,880 points, and he's ranked 12th. No matter how you look at it, Huashan has a higher chance of being promoted to the Glory team than Lin Feng. Jin and Yuan Shuang nodded. Wei Xingyuan was right. They were both rank 9 Nirvana realm, but Huashan might be stronger. Speaking of which, Lin Feng does have the qualifications to be promoted to the Glory team, but the first thing he needs to improve is his temperament. Wei Xingyuan said seriously, a strong temperament doesn't necessarily make one a top expert, but 10 out of 10 top experts usually have a very high temperament. Lin Feng's score in the Refining Heart realm is only 3,000 points. It's too low. He's only good in the Ace Army, not even excellent. For someone of his talent, it shouldn't be. Wei Xingyuan said proudly, before being promoted to the Glory team, I think the first thing he needs to improve is his temperament. Huashan is much better than him in this aspect. Huashan has already entered the second path of the 6 paths of reincarnation and is at the top of the ranks. Jin nodded in agreement. Temperament is indeed important. Although Shuang is the youngest among us, his temperament is the highest. He's about to break through the 4th path of reincarnation. Yuan Shuang shook his head. It's very difficult to cross the 100 points from 7,900 to 8,000. It's even harder than going from 7,000 to 7,900. With a glance, Yuan Shuang said, Old Wei isn't bad either, 780 points. He's not much worse than me. Wei Xingyuan smiled. I'm old. I can't compare to you guys. There was a hint of joy in his modesty. Even so, Wei Xingyuan seemed to be very satisfied. The 3 of them were Ace Army commanders, so their mental fortitude wasn't bad. Even in Glory 7 Alliance, they were at the top. How could normal soldiers enter the 4th path of reincarnation? In all of Glory's 7 major guilds, only 11 players had entered the 4th reincarnation. This included all the members of the Glory Squad and all the Nirvana stage experts of the Elite Army. The one with the strongest willpower in Glory 7 Alliance is Lightman. Yuan Shuang's eyes were filled with respect. Back then, when he was still in the Nirvana stage level 9 of the Ace Army, his heart refining points had already reached 7,917. You easily crossed the limit of 8,000 points in the 4th path of reincarnation, and now you're close to 8,800 points. You're quite outstanding. In the future, I might even be able to surpass the 9,000 points of the 5th path of reincarnation. Jin nodded. Including Guangnan, only 3 people from the 7 alliances entered the 5th path of reincarnation. All of them had undergone the 2nd bloodline awakening. Although Jian was ranked 2nd, he only had 8,155 points. He was far behind Guangnan. It would bring about an improvement in the heart. As a result, those who entered the 4th and 5th paths of reincarnation had undergone the 2nd bloodline awakening. Wei Xingyuan frowned. What's the commotion outside? The Glory Squad wasn't the only one living in the Glory territory. The Ace Squad commanders and the Elite Squad commanders all lived here for the glory of returning home. They had created glory for the Glory Alliance and contributed glory to the human race. They deserve to be treated with glory. It seems like the battle strength record has been broken. Yuan Shuang's ears were the best. Oh, Jin sneered. Glory Tower. They were like 2 towering towers, standing tall and upright. On the left and right sides, there was a giant memory metal body that recorded the glory rankings of the 7 major guilds. Those who could leave their names here were all elites among elites. Even the members of the Glory Squad would find it hard to leave their footprints behind. On the left side were the historical records of the 7 major guilds. For example, the record for the profound meaning. The first place on the glory rankings was 5,880 points, and the record was set by Lin Feng. The original first place with 5,775 points had fallen to second place. Lightman's 570 points had fallen to seventh place. The historical records range from 570 to 5,775 points. There were quite a few. On the right side were the current records of the 7 major guilds. It was also the record for the profound meaning. On the right side, Lin Feng was first, and Lightman had fallen from 7th to 2nd. Right now, the squad commanders weren't gathered around the profound meaning records, but the heart-refining realm records. 7,000 points. Another one who entered the 4th path of reincarnation. The 12th one. Who is this Lin Feng? Never heard of him. The squad commanders wouldn't pay special attention to Lin Feng. Is he that Lin Feng who set the record for the profound meaning rankings 2 days ago? Maybe. The possibility of the same name is very small. Not bad. His grasp of profound meaning is so strong, and his cultivation of the mind is so high. When did the Ace Squad have such a genius? The discussions were endless. Jean and the other two were extremely surprised. Wei Xinyuan's face was ashen. The others might not know, but they clearly knew that the person on the glory rankings was definitely that Lin Feng. It was already difficult for one of these monsters to appear, let alone two. This kid even hid his cultivation of the mind. Jean looked at the 12th name on the glory rankings and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Bang! Wei Xinyuan clenched his fists and glared at Jean. You told him to do this? Jean was stunned and frowned. I didn't. Then how do you explain it? Wei Xinyuan pointed at the glory rankings. He clearly has 7,000 points of mind cultivation, but he failed at the threshold of 3,000 points. Tell me, what is he after? The competition area is lively? There might be a difference in the cultivation of the mind, but it couldn't be that far off. The difference between the 8th realm with 3,000 points and the 15th realm with 7,000 points was like heaven and earth. I don't know either. Jean was helpless. He could understand Wei Xinyuan's feelings. If it were anyone else, they would inevitably think in this direction. He clearly had the ability to rank in the top 20, but he was only ranked 97th. What was he after? Jean was also confused and could not figure it out no matter how hard he tried. His gaze landed on the glory rankings. The 7,000 points of mind cultivation was extremely eye-catching. There were only 12 people in the entire Glory 7 Alliance. Suddenly, whoosh, a figure rushed over from afar. Everyone was in an uproar. The person who came was the soldier in charge of the refined heart world. He had a serious expression as he came in front of the memory metal board. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, a new name appeared on the 4th row of the refined heart world glory rankings. Lin Feng, 8,000. The Spring Festival is over in the blink of an eye. Let me give you a preview. On the 6th and 7th of the Lunar New Year, Xiao Xiao will continue to update twice. From the 8th of the Lunar New Year onwards, 3 updates will resume. Chapter 769. 80 points. 80 points in Refining Heart Realm. What did it mean? Realm 16 pass. Only 3 people in Glory's 7 alliances had reached this standard. Now there was a 4th. Wei Xinyuan clenched his teeth. After the shock, he felt indignant, as if he had been played like a monkey. He glared at Jean and left with an ashen face. But Jean ignored him. Like most of the elite commanders, he paid close attention to Lin Feng's refining heart realm points. 5th Dao Wheel. This Lin Feng is so monstrous. To think that such a genius would appear in the trump card army. I remember now. A month ago, during the rookie assessment, there was an ace army rookie from the 33 continents called Lin Feng. He defeated all the elite soldiers and caused quite a stir in Glory's 7 alliances. It can't be him, right? The 33 continents again? First, there was a goddess Wakaman, and now there's a Lin Feng. Are the 33 continents so strong? 80 heart refinement points is too terrifying. It was indeed terrifying. 70 points was already the best of the best. 80 points were rare, and this was not the final refining heart realm points. Refining heart realm. Pa! Lin Feng escaped from the refined heart realm. His face was pale, but his turbid eyes suddenly became clear. It was a dream. It's so real. It's so scary. The fifth Tao will completely grasp my weakness. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Even if it was just a dream or an illusion, there were still some things that he couldn't do. It was not because of his willpower, but because the weakness of his heart had been hit. Only with 7 emotions and 6 desires can one be a real person. Only with protection can one have a goal. Only by sticking to one's heart can one be me. Lin Feng was very calm. He was not demanding. He was already very satisfied that he could reach the 17th realm in refining heart realm. When he returned, he saw the 3 soldiers in charge looking at him with shock, as if they were looking at a monster. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. He glanced at the final refining heart realm points and left. This score was far beyond his expectations. Looks like I'll be able to reach 60 points in advance. Lin Feng smiled. Behind him, for numbers were displayed on the refining heart points 89-88. Glory territory. All the commanders were dumbfounded. In their opinion, a score of 70 points was already extraordinarily high, a score of 80 points was outrageous, and a score of 90 points was even more unattainable. But now a new member of the Ace Corps had actually broken a record. The distance was 9,000 minutes. Only 1 point left. In other words, he had already reached the end of the 5th Tao will before he failed. Monster! The Ace Army newbie actually broke Light Man's record. He's only at the 9th level of Nirvana realm. The crowd gasped in shock. At the sergeant level, he had almost passed the 5th Tao wheel. With 8,988 points, he was ranked 3rd in the history of Glory's 7 guilds. On the right side of the rankings, he was even stronger than Light Guy, taking 1st place. Refining heart points were quite valuable. It was different from a peak grade profound meaning. After all, a peak grade profound meaning was only a peak grade profound meaning. Even a perfect profound meaning could not compare to refining heart points. He had comprehended the perfect profound intent. It was more to obtain the acknowledgement of the origin energy. A true genius. He sighed. Thinking back to the battle between Lin Feng and the goddess Wakaman, he had already displayed his extraordinary temperament. Not only did he win as the weak, he even gave the championship to the goddess Wakaman. Before, he was still a bit hesitant about who Light Guy was waiting for, but now he was 100% sure. It had to be Lin Feng. No matter how outstanding Huashan was, he was only in the Ace Corps category. At most, he could reach the standard of a small glory team. But Lin Feng, there were already many glory team members. With his temperament and cultivation, I believe that he will test again when he reaches the 9th level of Saint Realm. 10 points can break the history rankings. A terrifying newbie. He shook his head. He felt a chill run down his spine. The sound of footsteps chasing behind him could be heard. The entire Glory's 7 guilds was shaken. This time, the earthquake was much more serious than the peak profound intent. The 8,988 points made all the commanders and soldiers gasp in amazement. Even Light Guy sighed. Lin Feng's temperament and cultivation were too exaggerated. But no one knew. The Lin Feng of that day actually had the ability to go one step further and reach the 18th level. But he didn't want to. Peak profound intent score, 5,877. Lin Feng left the world of profound intent and was 3 points less than his previous score of 5,888. There would definitely be some deviation in his score. He hadn't calculated his strongest attack yet, but his total score for the 4 categories had reached 4,365. In other words, as long as my strongest attack score reaches 5,635, I will be qualified to enter the path of glory. Lin Feng smiled. With his strength, the points he could get for his strongest attack would definitely surpass those of the profound meaning level. It wasn't hard to get a score of 6,000 points. 6,769. Lin Feng looked at his score. The standard attack of an Ace Corps captain was 6,000 points. The standard attack of an Ace Corps captain was 7,000 points. If I can comprehend the 6th move of the 7 limits, New Earth Destruction, reaching 7,000 points won't be a problem. Lin Feng said softly. But his strongest attack score of 6,769 was enough. Including his previous score of 4,365, his total score for the 5 categories was as high as 31,134 points. 66, Lin Feng smiled. Not only did he easily cross the threshold of 6,000 points, but he also increased it by 6 points. 8th place. An unexpected result. Lin Feng didn't expect that he would achieve his goal of 1 month on the first day of July. There's no hurry to improve my strength, and my achievements in the world of heaven and earth won't be enough to support me for too long. Lin Feng analyzed. At present, I should focus on improving my strength so that I can go further in the path of glory qualification battle. Spending a lot of time to improve his strength to the first level of the Saint Realm wouldn't bring about a qualitative change. It was better to use the limited time to improve his strength so that he could jump a level in a short time. After all, from the first level of the Nirvana realm to the 9th level in just 1 month, the gap itself was huge, and he needed time to settle down. There was no need to rush. Moreover, if I break through, I will be promoted to an Ace Corps captain, which is actually not good for me. Lin Feng was very clear. He wasn't afraid of going to the battlefield, but the Ace Corps captain couldn't get the rewards of the Glory Alliance. With his current combat strength points, he could get 778 battle points every month if he was ranked 66 divided by 8. If he was ranked in the top 10, he could get 5 times more battle points, which was as high as 3,890 battle points. These were available every month. If I can increase my combat points and improve my ranking, the rewards will be even higher. Lin Feng's eyes were burning. What he needed the most now was battle points, the more the better. Chapter 770. Above 6,000, not only was the difference in points, but the difference in rewards was even greater. With the same 66 points, the difference between 8th and 4th place was twice as much. Every increase in rank meant a lot of rewards. After all, it was 5 times the reward. Lin Feng's gaze landed on 6th and 7th place, the vice-captains of Baize Squad and Tao Tai Squad respectively, Lung Yuqing and Bai Si. Bai Si, 6375. Lung Yuqing, 641. Another 00 points, and I'll surpass these 2 to reach 6th place. Lin Feng said softly. Out of the 5 battle strength points, his strength level of 4,500 and bloodline grade of 5,000 were basically fixed. It would be difficult to increase them. If he wanted to increase them, he could only rely on the other 3 battle strength points, profound meaning level, and strongest attack. It's very difficult to increase my battle strength from 89-88 points. But my profound meaning level and strongest attack have a lot of room for improvement. Lin Feng said, as long as I perfectly integrate new ground destruction or raise my saber heart to the next level, from perfect to extreme, my strongest attack will be able to break through 7,000 points and reach the standard of an ace army commander. My profound meaning level has a lot of room for improvement, currently at 5,877 points. But as long as I comprehend any perfect profound meaning, it will be at least 6,000 points. If it's a whirlpool profound meaning, using the whirlpool body, it's very likely to exceed 7,000 points. Lin Feng was very confident in his whirlpool body. Peak profound meaning points were 4,000 to 5,999, and perfect profound meaning points were 6,000 to 7,999. That was a difference of 1,000 points. Basically, 7,999 profound meaning points was the limit. Any higher, and he would need to be recognized by the origin energy. First, I'll cultivate new ground destruction, then perfect profound meaning. Lin Feng walked into the training room. 6-6. Lin Feng's battle strength points caused a stir. The first month of the second half of the year had just begun, and Lin Feng was ranked 8th with 66 points, causing a huge uproar. After all, Lin Feng had just kept his position as an ace army commander and was only ranked 97th. His battle strength points were not even 3,000 points. Is there a mistake? It's only been a day. How did Lin Feng's points increase so much? Isn't 66 points a bit too much? Doesn't that mean he's far above the excellent score? He can even enter the A squad. Not only that, he's even qualified to be a vice-captain. Isn't Hua Shan the vice-captain of Kuei squad? He's 4 places below Lin Feng. In my opinion, the ranking must be wrong. How could Lin Feng suddenly rise above 6,000? It's too strange. Normally, the increase of combat power points was done step by step. Lin Feng's sudden increase of 3,000 combat power points. It was indeed inconceivable. On the other hand, the 3 ace army commanders were not surprised. Compared to Lin Feng, who had broken the record of refined heart points, it was normal for him to have an average of 66 points. His refined heart points had already reached 8,988 points. Everything else was fine as long as they followed the rules. Doubts aside, Lin Feng's combat power points were true gold that feared no fire. There was no exaggeration. When the battle strength points stabilized on the leaderboard for 3 days, everyone was clear. This was definitely not a mistake in the record, but the real deal. Lin Feng had unimaginable combat power. Wei Sun is really unlucky to hit the gun muzzle himself. No wonder Lin Feng could defeat Wei Sun in 1 strike. 6,000 points, ranked 8th. That's a true top-class ace. Too strong. Lin Feng has only been in the ace squad for a month. The doubtful voices turned into sighs and sighs. The strongest soldier in the elite squad. Unfortunately, Lin Feng had returned with broken wings. Despicable. This brat really hit it well. Qian He's face was gloomy. When he found out about Lin Feng's combat power points, he was shocked. He and Lin Feng were enemies and not friends. He was chasing after Shimanzi. Yet he met Lin Feng, this love rival, which made Qian He uneasy, especially when Shimanzi invited Lin Feng into her territory. He treated Lin Feng as if they were 2 different people. Captain, a handsome young man with slightly thin cheeks and a complexion as white as jade spoke. The corners of his slightly raised eyes flickered with a charm that could intoxicate women. Ranked 12th in combat power, the former number 1 ace soldier, Hua Shan. Is there a reply? Qian He suppressed his anger. Although he was angry, he still had to do what he had to do. He naturally had to recruit a talent like Lin Feng. As long as he could trick Lin Feng into joining the Kuei squad, wouldn't he be able to kill Lin Feng if he wanted to? In the Kuei squad, he was the captain. No, he has always been in closed-door training. Well, Shan shook his head, jealousy flashing in his eyes. Other than the Phoenix squad, the other 4 A squads are all waiting. In terms of strength and sincerity, we might not be able to compete with them. Qian He raised his head and looked at Hua Shan, coldly saying, "Don't worry. Recruiting him does not mean I will use him. You were trained by me, understand?" Understood. Hua Shan revealed a knowing smile. The glory of being handsome could make any girl fall for him. Continue to fight. Qian He waved his hand. You have to get him for me, no matter the price. Yes, Captain. Hua Shan turned and left. Everyone's attention was on him. Lin Feng's number 111 territory was crowded. Inside the hall, there were many ace captains. This showed the importance of a housekeeper. The pretty maids did not know what to do. They hurriedly received them, not daring to neglect any of them. The entire hall was filled with hostility. Each of the ace squad members and vice captains glared at each other. There was no lack of friction between them. Since they were all ace squads, the competition was naturally fierce. A 66 points ace soldier, a super rookie. Looking at the history of Glory's 7 alliances, there were only a few who could reach 6,000 points and enter the top 10. Even Lightman, who was brimming with talent, only had 6,030 points, barely making it to 10th place. Lin Feng was a rookie. All the ace squads naturally flocked to him. Because the Phoenix squad only accepted girls, they did not recruit him together with the other ace squads. Even so, the lineup was quite shocking. Even the captain of the Qilin squad, Jean Qilin, personally came to recruit him. For 1,000 points, passing line. For 1,500 points, excellent line. When a soldier's rank reached 4,500 points, they could be considered a captain. They could freely join any ace squad and enter the battlefield. Of course, there would still be rewards until one's strength reached the Saint Ascension stage. Hua Shan, Didn't your Koei squad just poach the Saint Cultivator Yixia not long ago? Why are you snatching him again? That is to say, our Baizé squad has the least people. You should give him to us. You're going overboard. Lung Yuqing, your Baizé squad has the least people, but your battle strength is not weak. Our Taotai squad has the weakest battle strength. Lin Feng should be given to us. All right, everyone stop fighting. Let Lin Feng choose for himself. The hall was in an uproar. The maids behind him were all panicking. They were so anxious that they broke out in cold sweat. Suddenly, the door to the hall slowly opened. The noise was instantly silenced. A figure with a dense saber intent and a dense saber heart appeared in the dim light. Lin Feng. To be continued. Chapter 771. The choice of the ace team was very important. After all, the Glory Alliance was like an army, and the ace team was like a special force that acted independently. Since they were part of the army, they had to listen to their superiors, so the position of the captain of the ace team was very high. Of course, for the warriors that were about to join the ace team, they had to consider more than just the captain. This included the number of people in the team, the atmosphere, the strength of the team, whether each member could cooperate with each other, and how easy it was to get along with each other. For Lin Feng, even if he didn't want to, he had to join the ace team. He had to make a choice when his combat strength was above 4500, because this meant that he had the strength to go on the battlefield, contribute to humanity, and show his glory. In the army, there was no room for cowards. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Lin Feng arrived with a smile. He glanced at the experts present and understood. 1 captain, 3 vice captains, and 7 members, all of whom were ranked in the top 5 in terms of combat strength. They came personally to recruit him, showing their sincerity. We also just arrived not long ago. Golden Shilin was the first to speak. His position was the highest, and he was also the strongest, ranking 5th with 6,655 points. As the captain of the Qilin team, although he came alone, there was no doubt that he was the most sincere. Brother Lin's diligence is admirable, and neither arrogance nor rashness is even more commendable. Base team's vice captain Lung Yuqing praised. If we don't work hard, Brother Lin will soon catch up to us. Taotai team's vice captain Bai Si said with a smile. He and Lung Yuqing were ranked 7th and 6th respectively, just ahead of Lin Feng's ranking. On the other side, Huashan looked over with a complicated expression. He hesitated but didn't speak. Although he had come to recruit Lin Feng, it was under the orders of Captain Qianhe. In Huashan's heart, he was extremely unwilling. After all, Lin Feng joining would be a great threat to him. He might even take away his position as vice captain, even with Captain Qianhe's verbal guarantee. But this didn't count. Everyone is too polite, Sid. Lin Feng sat down. Looking at these big shots from the ace team that he couldn't see normally, Lin Feng said, I already know why everyone is here, and it's hard to refuse. Personally, it would be an honor for me to join any team, but for now, it's normal for Brother Lin to be in a difficult position. The vice captain of the Taotai squad, Bai Si, smiled and said, I know that Brother Lin has great ambitions. Right now, the Taotai squad's overall strength is ranked last among the 6A squads. If Brother Lin can join, you will definitely become the pillar of the Taotai squad. As long as you have enough military merits and prestige, it's not impossible for you to become a captain. The captain of the Taotai squad, Lu Luo, was only ranked 13th, inferior to the vice captain, Bai Si. It's messy with too many people. The vice captain of the White Pool squad, Lung Yuqing, said, Our White Pool squad has the least number of people, and we value quality over quantity. It's most suitable for an elite expert like Brother Lin to join us. You can wield your energy, and the White Pool squad will definitely not be a burden on the battlefield. Come to our Azure Dragon squad, Brother Lin. The Azure Dragon squad had the most members. He shouted, Our Azure Dragon squad is the strongest among the ace squads and has accumulated the most battle merits. Our captain is the strongest captain in the ace squad and is ranked first in terms of battle strength points. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. The Azure Dragon squad's captain, Qin Tiansheng, had long been famous. His battle strength points were 778, far ahead of the second-ranked White Pool Squad's captain, Wu Qi. He was only 0 points away from the Glory Squad, and was fully deserving of the title of the strongest captain in the A Squad. The 6 squads each had their own merits. In terms of overall strength, the Azure Dragon Squad was ranked first, and the Phoenix Squad was ranked second. The White Pool Squad and the Kuei Squad were neck and neck. The Qilin Squad was ranked 5th, and the Taotai Squad was ranked 6th. Therefore, to show their sincerity, the Qilin Squad's captain, Jean Qilin, personally came to invite Lin Feng. Lin Feng, if you are willing to join, the vice-captain of the Qilin Squad will be your captain. The position of vice-captain of the Qilin team is yours. The golden Qilin's words shocked everyone present. In the A Squad, the captain was the most important, and the vice-captain was the second most important. If the captain unfortunately died or was promoted to captain, the vice-captain would take over the captain's position. Brother Hua, why don't you speak? Lin Feng smiled and looked at Huashan, who was sitting with a frown. He was the only one present who was a sergeant. Even so, Huashan's status was not the least bit inferior. As the vice-captain of the Kuei Squad, he occupied the first place in the battle strength ranking as a sergeant, higher than the captain of the Taotai Squad, Lu Luo. In the future, when he stepped into the Saint Realm and became a captain, it could be said that he had the potential to reach the top 3 in the battle strength ranking. Shua, Shua, Shua. Huashan was also startled. He did not expect Lin Feng to ask him. At this time, pairs of eyes looked over, and Huashan said, "My Kuei Squad can provide a large amount of promise money for your cultivation, Lin Feng. In addition, Lin Feng, your good brother Yi Xia from the 33 continents, is also in our Kuei Squad. If you can join us, we can fight side by side again." Oh. Lin Feng smiled. Then he turned his head and said no more. Huashan was at a loss, and his heart was unsettled. He did not know what Lin Feng meant. He was now very conflicted. He wanted Lin Feng to join the Kuei Squad, but also did not want Lin Feng to join. Hey, a large amount of promised money. Can't we afford it? That's right, my Azure Dragon Squad will definitely give more than your Kuei Squad. Who doesn't know how to play the favor card? Brother Lin, if you want to join our Taotai Squad, your brothers in the 33 continents will welcome you. As long as you can enter the top 50, you will immediately sign the promised money. There was an uproar, and they quarreled again. Huashan's face suddenly turned red, but he was completely suppressed by the other captains. Compared with the other squads, his conditions did not have any advantage. Lin Feng glanced at the ace captains, who were all powerhouses of the 7th, 8th, and even the 9th level of the Saint Realm. He was also hesitant. The 5A squads had their own characteristics. The Azure Dragon Squad was the strongest and had accumulated the most battle merits. Moreover, the strongest captain of the Ace Army, Qin Tiansheng, was the captain. The whole team was united, and the atmosphere was excellent. The base squad had the captain Wu Qi, who was ranked first in the battle strength ranking, and the vice-captain Lung Yuqing came in person to show his sincerity. The base squad only accepted elite powerhouses. Although they were few in number, their battle strength was not weak at all. The Qilin Squad was the most sincere of the 5A squads. Not only did the captain Jean Qilin personally invite him, the vice-captain position was also empty. The Taotai Squad had many things to do and was at the bottom of the 6A squads. However, there was a lot of room for growth in the Taotai Squad. Just as Bai Si said, if he joined, he would definitely become the pillar of the Taotai Squad. As long as he had enough battle merits and prestige, it was not impossible for him to become the captain in the future. As for the Kuei Squad, their sincerity was the worst, and their reputation was not good. Their strength was only average, so it was not worth mentioning. Oh, Lin Feng was hesitant. I wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. Xiao Xiao is here. Tomorrow, we will start the normal third watch. Chapter 772. Lin Feng's target was naturally Team Glory. Look, however, entering Team Glory was not something that could be done overnight. Basically, to be promoted from the Ace Troop to Team Glory, one had to be at the upper level of the Sage stage. After all, it was not easy to reach 80,000 combat points. Many Ace captains did not even have more than 70,000 combat points, even after breaking through, to become ace captains. If it's fast, it'll take 3 months. If it's slow, it'll take half a year. Lin Feng was very clear that even if he entered Team Glory, he still had to go to the battlefield and carry out missions. However, the missions he had to carry out and the enemies he had to kill would definitely be much more difficult and stronger than Team Ace. During this period, he would first enter a Team Ace to gain experience. How about this? I understand everyone's intentions. I won't waste everyone's time. Lin Feng stood up and nodded slightly. However, joining Team Ace is a serious matter after all. Please allow me to think about it for a few more days. I will definitely give everyone a satisfactory answer within 7 days. Please. The Ace captains, led by Jean Shilin, nodded and stood up. Basically, they had already achieved their goal. Nothing forcibly done would be sweet. The rest was up to Lin Feng to decide. Then we'll wait for Brother Lin's good news. You must join Team Tao Tai, Brother Lin. Team Qinglong will wait for you. The Ace captains bade farewell one by one. Lin Feng smiled as he sent everyone off. At this moment, he did not have a clear answer in his heart. The 5 teams each had their own merits. Tu Yi's decision was a little too rash. It would not be too late to make a decision slowly. His gaze fell on Huashan's back as Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He was the Huashan that Manzi mentioned. Kindness as in hypocrisy, last year's newcomer king. He was also the person behind Yi Xia's girlfriend, Ji Zixuan. In another 2 days, when Butler Gongsun returns from his investigation, I believe that everything will come to light. Compared to which Team Ace to join, Lin Feng was more concerned about Yi Xia's matter. After all, he was one of his few good friends. For Ji Zixuan, Yi Xia had fallen. Being in the Ace troop was like rowing a boat against the current. If you did not advance, you would fall behind. Yi Xia's current ranking had already slipped past the 50th position. He was still so young. It would not be worth it to ruin his life for love. Hope. It will be good news. Lin Feng did not wish for Ji Zixuan to be the kind of woman, and even more so, he did not wish for Yi Xia to be touched by someone else. No matter which hand it was not good. However, reality was often cruel and true. Lin Feng's expression turned even colder as he looked at the thick stack of documents that the butler, Gongsun I, had brought over. It detailed Ji Zixuan's every day, every hour of her schedule, all of her connections, and the relatives and friends of her parents. Ji Zixuan did have a father. He did owe gambling debts, but he had already paid them back. He didn't owe a huge sum of money like she said. Moreover, her relationship with her parents was ordinary, and they rarely interacted with each other. That was fine. Some women did like money because it gave them a sense of security. This was nothing. It was a matter of mutual consent. It was like Zhou Yu hitting Huang Gai. One was willing to hit, and the other was willing to receive. However, the problem was that Ji Zixuan did have her left hand on her right hand. Furthermore, there was more than one right hand. Not only does she have an affair with Huashan, she also has a close relationship with Kuei Squad's Captain Qianhe. Lin Feng looked at the information and was truly shocked. This woman looked warm and generous. Who would have thought that she was such a promiscuous woman? Huashan is pretty good. He gave this woman to Qianhe. No wonder he became the vice captain at such a young age. Lin Feng quickly sorted out the relationship. Ji Zixuan and Qianhe were purely interested in each other. The person she liked was Huashan, but Huashan only treated her as a tool. As for Ji Zixuan, she was mostly used. The other half was a spare tire. Closing the information, Lin Feng let out a long sigh. Their relationship was really complicated. Some women are really scary. Lin Feng sighed. Ji Zixuan was able to deal with Huashan and Qianhe like a fish in water. Against the inexperienced Yi Xia, it was naturally easy to capture her. It was normal for Yi Xia to be played around by her. Butler Gongsun, Lin Feng said in a low voice. Sir, what are your orders? Butler Gongsun said respectfully. Arrange something for me. Lin Feng's eyes flashed and suddenly sharpened. In the hall. Sir Qianhe, welcome. Lin Feng smiled and went up to greet him. A man and a woman stepped in. The man had a braid and his face was angular. His light blue hair gave off a feminine and unapproachable aura. A pair of small eyes rolled around. Chinny stepped into the hall and smiled. Brother Lin, you're too kind. Although he was jealous of Lin Feng deep down, Chin he was still polite on the surface. Private matters aside, public matters aside, he wanted to win over a genius like Lin Feng and strengthen Kuei squad. After all, Lin Feng's strength was genuine. He had achieved 60 points as a sergeant. His potential and strength were better than Huashan's. The woman beside, Qian, he was also smiling like a flower. Lin Feng's gaze fell on the woman. It was Ji Zixuan, whom Yi Xia yearned for day and night. This time, she wore a long dress like a formal dress, revealing her full thighs. Her white skin was very elastic, and her long black hair was slightly curled over her shoulders. Her full chest was faintly discernible. Although she was far from being as charming as Shi Manzi, she was a woman who knew how to show off her beauty. Among ordinary women, she was definitely considered a top beauty. Facing Ji Zixuan, Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Ji Zixuan was a little flattered and even smiled sweetly. Chinny saw this and smiled knowingly. Sit. Lin Feng invited Qian, he and Ji Zixuan to sit. With a wave of his hand, he dismissed the other servants. The huge hall was quiet. Only Lin Feng, Qian He, and Ji Zixuan were left. I wonder why Brother Lin specially invited me. Qian He looked straight at Lin Feng and said with a smile that was not a smile. Naturally, it's to join Kuei squad. Lin Feng smiled. Oh. Qian He narrowed his eyes. Lin Feng looked at Qian He. Lord Qian, he seems very surprised. Qian He nodded. In terms of overall team evaluation, my Kuei squad is inferior to the Azure Dragon squad. In terms of prospects, the position given is not as good as the Qilin squad. In terms of promised money, it is not as good as the Baizhe squad. Why did Brother Lin choose my Kuei squad? Lin Feng smiled. What does Lord Qian He think? These were all old foxes. Lin Feng naturally did not think that he could deceive them. There were some things that there was no harm in getting straight to the point. In my opinion, Brother Lin is probably because of Yi Xia, right? Qian He said. I can't hide it from Lord Qian He. Lin Feng admitted frankly. His gaze fell on Ji Zixuan as he suddenly said, but I've changed my mind now. I wonder if Lord Qian He can part with your love and give Zixuan to me? It's rare to see such a beautiful woman. No wonder Xiao Xia was moved by her. Chapter 773. This. Qian He hesitated. 1. Ji Zixuan's eyes flickered as if she was weighing the pros and cons. She was quite smart to be able to mingle with these men like a fish in water. Lin Feng was very calm. In the Nirvana world, this kind of power and sex trade was very common. The strong were respected, and normal people had no power to resist. If they did not have a backer, they would die. Even if it was not easy to do it on the surface, no one could do anything in the dark. Brother Lin, are you serious? Qian He frowned. Lin Feng smiled. I've never liked to joke, but I don't want to force people. He looked at Ji Zixuan meaningfully. If Miss Zixuan is not willing, then let's just forget about it. Not only Lin Feng, but Qian He also looked at Ji Zixuan. Ji Zixuan looked at Qian He, and the latter closed his eyes. It was a silent hint. Thank you for your kindness, Sir Lin. Zixuan is willing to serve you. Ji Zixuan said shyly with a red face. Lin Feng nodded. Qian He laughed heartily. Brothers are like hands and feet, and women are like clothes. Since Zixuan doesn't mind, I'm willing to fulfill your wish, but... Qian He dragged his words and looked straight at Lin Feng. Brother Lin, are you really willing to join my Kuei squad? 3 conditions. Lin Feng raised 3 fingers. Since Sir Qian He has already agreed to the first condition, and if you agree to 2 more conditions, I'm willing to sign a contract and officially join. Qian He's eyes lit up. Please speak. Lin Feng nodded. The second condition is the promised money. I believe Sir Qian He knows that I need a lot of military merits to improve my strength. Since Sir Qian He is a straightforward person, I won't ask for too much. Qian He's mouth twitched slightly. 50 military merits. Although he had already guessed it in his heart, 50 points was still quite heavy. Normally, when a normal lieutenant joined an ace team, It would depend on whether the team would accept them or not. Only those who were strong enough would have a chance to choose. Only those who were ranked very high or those who were above the passing score would receive a considerable amount of promise money. Yixia's promise money was 90 military merits. This was the promise of a qualified soldier. If one could reach the excellent score in the sergeant level, they would be able to obtain about 10 to 150 battle points. The higher their ranking, the more gold they would receive, and they would be able to enter the top 10. Normally, they would have more than 500 battle points. Huashan had obtained 330 battle points that day. With his current strength and ranking, it shouldn't be a problem for him to get 40 points. That day, Sir Guangnan took 50 points. Lin Feng said, "My current strength is no less than Sir Guangnan's. I believe it's not too much for me to get 50 points." Yes. Qianhe smiled bitterly. He knew that Lin Feng's price was very reasonable. Any other small team would gladly hand over the promise of 50 points with both hands. With Lin Feng's potential, the actual price was between 60,000 to 80,000. That being said, it was still painful to take out this 50,000 promise money. I agree. Qianhe gritted his teeth. Beside him, Ji Zixuan's beautiful eyes shone brightly. She knew what the 50,000 promise represented. It was comparable to Sir Guangnan from 3 years ago and the current captain of Glory's first team. Thinking about this, Ji Zixuan's chest rose and fell. She couldn't help but smile sweeter at Lin Feng. But Brother Lin, let's be frank. Once the contract is signed, the promise money cannot be changed. It will be calculated at 10 times the normal promise money, Qianhe said. Of course. Lin Feng knew Qianhe's concerns. He was afraid that his efforts would be in vain, so it was normal for him to be cautious. The so-called promise money was a promise of benefits for both parties. If they were to break the contract in the future, they would have to pay 10 times the promise money. This was recognized by the entire Glory Alliance, so the choice of the ace team was especially important. Normal soldiers received less promise money and had fewer restrictions. The strong received more promise money and had more promise money. 10 times of 50 points was 50 points of war. It was a terrifying number. That's good, Qianhe said happily. Although 50 points was a lot, it also represented a heavy shackle. 50 points firmly bound Lin Feng to Kuei squad. What's the third condition? Qianhe asked. Lin Feng smiled. What does Sir Qianhe think? Their eyes met. The two seemed to have a tacit understanding. Qianhe nodded in understanding, then laughed heartily. Don't worry, Brother Lin. I'll cancel the contract with Yi Xia and return him his freedom. As for the promise money, it'll be a meeting gift for Brother Lin joining Kuei squad. Thank you very much, Captain. Lin Feng looked at Qianhe. Did you bring the contract? Of course. Qianhe was overjoyed. It was written in black and white. The contract was signed. Lin Feng received another 50 points. 5 yellow gems shone brightly. All right, we're all part of the same squad from now on. Qianhe happily patted Lin Feng's shoulder, his narrowed eyes full of pride. Lin Feng's addition not only strengthened Kuei squad, but he could also use this opportunity to eliminate his rival in love. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lin Feng smiled. Then, according to the contract, when the first round of the Path of Glory qualification is over at the beginning of August, I'll officially report to Kuei squad. No problem. Qianhe's eyes flashed with a sharp light. We'll be competitors in the qualification battle. I won't be merciful, Lin Feng said. Of course. Qianhe laughed. The two looked at each other and smiled, each with their own plans. Qianhe got up and said to Ji Zixuan, Serve Sir Lin well in the future. Zixuan understands. Ji Zixuan pursed her lips. A moment is worth 1,000 gold. Then I won't disturb you, Brother Lin, huh? Qianhe revealed a meaningful smile and left happily. In the huge hall, only Lin Feng and Ji Zixuan were left. The latter walked with light steps, her head lowered and face red as she walked towards Lin Feng. Sir Lin, come out, Lin Feng suddenly said. Ji Zixuan was startled. Her beautiful face revealed surprise and confusion. Suddenly, she saw a familiar figure appear at the end of the hall. Her pretty face instantly turned pale and trembled slightly. Yi Xia. Lin Feng did not even look at Ji Zishuan. He looked straight at Yi Xia. The latter's starry eyes were incomparably complicated. His face was pale. Brother Lin. His voice was very soft, with a trace of guilt and shame. He did not dare to look straight at him. Life will always encounter ups and downs. It doesn't matter if you fall. Just get up. Lin Feng patted Yi Xia's shoulder. This is your own path. It's up to you to choose. I'll hand the person over to you intact. Whether you abandon him or keep him, no matter what you decide in the end, I'll respect your choice. Then, Lin Feng smiled at Yi Xia and turned to leave. Returning to normal in the third watch of the 16th year. Set sail and set sail. To be continued. Chapter 774. To Yi Xia, Lin Feng treated him like a little brother. Without failure, without pain, how could one grow? The so-called strength and growth was to overcome the bumps in the face of constant setbacks to climb to the peak. He might be able to make a decision for him and deal with this matter cleanly for him, but he might not be able to help him a second time or a third time. If Yi Xia chose to face reality and accept the pain, that would be good. Because in his opinion, this was what a man should do, the pain he should bear. Yi Xia was still young and had plenty of time in the future. First love was often painful, but this was nothing. There was no obstacle in the world that could not be overcome, only people who could not accept it. There were plenty of fish in the sea, and he had only met Ling Er later. But if Yi Xia chose to forgive Ji Zishuan, he would also help him, and now Ji Zishuan belonged to him in name. Helping her cut off her connection with Huashan was not a difficult task. Everyone had their own path to walk. Whether you want to become a dragon and soar into the sky, or a snake and roll in the pond, it's all up to little Xia. Lin Feng left indifferently, not interfering with his final decision. Ace Army territory. Lin Feng joined the Kuei squad. How is that possible? What advantage does the Kuei squad have that they can win over Lin Feng? That's ridiculous. I don't believe it. The Azure Dragon squad and the Bay squad are all 100 times stronger than the Kuei squad. Lin Feng would only choose the Kuei squad if he was stupid. That's right, I heard that the Kuei squad is very messy. Captain Qianhe and Vice Captain Huashan's private lives are rotten, and the whole squad is not united at all. Their overall combat strength is not bad, but every time they get merit, they are at the bottom of the pack, not even comparable to the Taodai squad. Why would I lie to you? It was Captain Qianhe who said it himself. He is the #1 Sacred Force cultivator in the Ace Army. There's no way he would lie. News. Soon it spread. Although Lin Feng did not make it public, Qianhe could not help but show off. To be able to snatch a genius like Lin Feng from the 5 Ace squads was naturally a great honor. Not only did it strengthen the Kuei squad's reputation, other than the fact that the contract had yet to be made public, there was no need for him to hide anything else. On the other side, Lin Feng did not deny it. Gradually, the news spread, and the matter was more or less settled. Everyone was well aware that there was nothing they could do other than sigh in regret. The truth was still the truth. Territory 111. Boom, 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 boom. The entire land was shaking, and thunderclaps continued to rumble. The power of the Ode of 1,000 Thunderbolts, a top-notch profound will of thunder, instantly exploded. Mixed with the power of destruction, it rose to the sky and turned into a vortex of tornadoes. The moment the power of the blade technique was condensed, it exploded along with the thunder. Rumble. One strike. Razed to the ground. The fusion is almost complete. Lin Feng sheathed his saber, a satisfied look on his face. After 5 consecutive days of practicing the saber without sleep and food, he finally got results. He had already mastered the 6th ultimate destruction, and he also knew the Ode of 1,000 Thunder like the back of his hand. However, the difficulty of combining the two was abnormally high. Fortunately, his saber heart had reached perfection, and he was gradually getting used to it. The key is layering. The power of the Ode of 1,000 Thunder is layering, but the 6th ultimate destruction is an instant explosion. The direction of the fusion was wrong before. Blindly changing has lost the essence of the fusion. The so-called perfect fusion is not one of them accommodating the other, but the two attacks finding a suitable point, perfectly fusing together and releasing their own power. Beginner realm. As if he had found the right path, the comprehension of the sixth ultimate destruction would soon be achieved. Continue. Lin Feng was full of fighting spirit. Everything was paving the way for the qualification for the road of glory. In the path of glory qualification battle, he would no longer have to face elite soldiers like Wei Sun. Instead, he would have to face geniuses of the glory squad who were also at the Nirvana Ascension stage like him. They would have more than 60 points and would be ranked in the top 10. Also, elite army captains. Only with pressure would there be motivation. Because Lin Feng knew that at that time, none of his opponents would be easy to deal with. With his current ranking, he should be in the middle or lower class among all the powerhouses participating in the road of glory qualification battle. It would be difficult to stand out, but it was very interesting. Even if I can't pass, at least I can exchange blows with the powerhouses of the Glory 7 Alliance. I can at least get to know the geniuses of the Nirvana realm, the Nirvana powerhouses. Lin Feng's state of mind was very calm. The more he waved the black dragon, the more vigorous it became. The Overlord's power that came from his heart caused the black dragon's combat strength to soar. The black dragon roared wildly. The weight of the sword heart was quite high. Over and over again, Lin Feng did not stop. A beautiful red figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Her red sleeves fluttered, and her flickering, beautiful eyes seemed to be angry. Clang! Ding! The soft sword was unsheathed. It was like a ghost sword stabbing over, unusually ghostly. Good. Lin Feng smiled valiantly and went up to greet it. After a round of sparring, Shi Manzi gently landed on the ground, her phoenix eyes slightly angry. I thought you were mesmerized by the beauty. Beauty? Lin Feng was startled, then suddenly understood. He could not help but smile. I didn't expect the news to spread so quickly. The news of him asking for Ji Zixuan from Qian He had obviously spread, but he did not know if it was Qian He or Huashan who did it. There was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. He had already expected it. Qian He told you. Lin Feng and Shi Manzi walked to the stone table in the courtyard and sat down. Shi Manzi threw a seductive glance. He doesn't know what your intentions are. No, he knows. Lin Feng said, with Qian He's strength, he knows that Yi Xia was in the hall that day. Whether it was himself or Yi Xia, they could not hide from Qian He's detection. After all, he was a Saint Force cultivator. But it's no different to him. Everyone has already talked about what happened that day. Part of the conversation between Qian He and I was deliberately told to Yi Xia. Qian He was a smart person. That day was actually a matter of choice. Giving up Yi Xia for himself would only bring benefits to the Kuei squad. Since he was ready to give up Yi Xia, Qian He would not mind doing him a favor. Shi Manzi nodded lightly, her beautiful eyes staring at Lin Feng. Aren't you afraid that the rumors will spread throughout the Ace Army's territory? Lin Feng poured a cup of flower tea for Shi Manzi. Those who know me know my character, just like you, Manzi. Those who don't know me, what do their thoughts have to do with me? As he spoke, he felt warmth in his heart. He could actually feel how Shi Manzi treated him. She was different from Ji Zixuan. She seemed open-minded, but in reality, Shi Manzi was a very loyal woman. But speaking of which, Manzi, since you know that I'm here for Xiao Xia, why are you here? Lin Feng asked curiously. Shi Manzi looked at him coquettishly. Can't I confirm it? All right. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. To be continued. Chapter 775. I'm just kidding. Shi Manzi smiled. Actually, Yi Xia asked me to do this. He didn't dare to come see you. Lin Feng was stunned. He suddenly understood and smiled. I thought he only envied Mandarin ducks and not immortals. No wonder he hasn't done anything these days. He's not stupid. He already saw some signs, but he's not as good as Ji Zixuan in terms of feelings. Shi Manzi said softly, You let him eavesdrop this time. Not only did you give him a warning, but you also sacrificed yourself to help him. He's both touched and ashamed. He really doesn't have the face to see you. Isn't the word sacrifice too heavy? Lin Feng smiled. Isn't it? Manzi blinked and said, "For him, you didn't even hesitate to sell yourself to the Kuei squad. I'm so angry. It's just a temporary measure." Lin Feng said, "If he didn't sign a contract, he wouldn't let Yixia go. He would be in trouble then. If he wanted to leave, he would have to pay 9,000 battle points, 10 times the price. Yixia couldn't take out such a huge sum. I'm just afraid you won't be able to do it." Manzi said, "I'm confident." Lin Feng smiled. "If I lose myself for 9,000 battle points, wouldn't it be a huge loss? Besides, they cheated me this time. Naturally, I have to pay back double. The 1,000 battle points that Yixia borrowed from him must have landed in one of Qian He's or Huoshan's pockets. How could he not earn it back? To him, freedom was far more important than battle points. It wasn't like he couldn't take out 9,000 battle points. Yixia's strength was also far from the elite grade. If he really wanted to settle this peacefully, he just had to take out 9,000 battle points. But to let the Kuei squad earn this amount of battle points? Of course not. You're so cunning. Those who don't know would think you're a businessman." Manzi smiled. "How do you know I'm not?" Lin Feng raised his cup and smiled. Being with Manzi felt very comfortable, very relaxed. She was a very special woman. Plus, they had gone through hardships together and fought side by side. Of course, they were very close. Although he knew Shua before, Manzi was now in Lin Feng's heart. But it wasn't any worse than blowing snow. They chatted happily and soon parted ways. Just like Shui, Manzi was also a strong-willed girl, but she hid this strong-willed determination deep within her heart. Soft on the outside, but hard on the inside. "Tell me, what is your expedient plan?" Manzi blinked her beautiful eyes. "Take a guess." Lin Feng smiled, still keeping me in suspense. Manzi pinched the tip of her nose, revealing a hint of craftiness. "I'm guessing that you must have reached an agreement with the Taotai squad and directly entered the Taotai squad to replace Lu Luo as the captain. Only then could they ignore the promised payment. After all, in Team Ace, the captain was the one with the highest authority." Lin Feng smiled. "You'll know when the time comes." "All right, then I'll wait and see." Manzi's red sleeves fluttered as she brushed past Lin Feng's body and pouted playfully. "I'm leaving. Aren't you going to say anything?" A delicate fragrance assailed his nostrils. Lin Feng could do nothing about Manzi and could only smile bitterly. Unromantic. Manzi's breath was like an orchid, and her figure flashed and directly blocked Lin Feng. "Listen, you're not allowed to look for that, Ji Zishuan. What are you thinking?" Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Manzi's beautiful eyes blinked, her charming eyes like silk. "If you want to look for someone, you can only look for me. Extremely charming, like the seduction of a witch." Manzi, who was a disciple of Hong Ying, was like a peerless beauty. Lin Feng was still in a daze when her red lips were already on his cheek, and he heard Manzi's bell-like soft laughter. The delicate fragrance was like a cloud, and Manzi's beautiful figure instantly disappeared. Manzi's seduction technique is getting more and more powerful. Lin Feng sighed. After sending Manzi off, Lin Feng followed Butler Gongsun 1 and set off for Yixia's territory. The one who started the trouble needed to untie it. Some problems needed to be solved by oneself. "Brother Lin." Yixia lowered his head, not daring to look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled. "It's nothing, don't take it to heart. Who doesn't make mistakes?" Yixia didn't disappoint himself. In the end, he still chose to give up on Ji Zishuan and face reality. Although this reality was cruel, it was an irreplaceable treasure in life. Yixia being able to overcome it was a great help to his temperament. "I'm really sorry, Brother Lin." Yixia gritted his teeth. "It's all because of my ignorance that things ended up like this." "Do you hate her?" Lin Feng asked. "She's not worthy of my hatred." Yixia shook his head, a hint of determination in his eyes. "I've already walked out of it, Brother Lin." "Then why are you still avoiding me?" Lin Feng smiled. Yixia was ashamed. "Because of me, Brother Lin joined the Kuei squad. I really can't feel at ease. It's just a temporary measure. After the Path of Glory qualification battle at the beginning of August, I have a way to deal with them and make them suffer unspeakably," Lin Feng said. "Really?" Yixia was surprised. Of course. Lin Feng took out a yellow war merit gem, representing 1,000 points, and handed it over. This is the remaining 1,000 points. I promised you use it. Recently, because of her, your strength has regressed a lot. You can't even enter the top 50. Yi Xiao blushed. Get to 4,500 points as soon as possible. The excellent line of Sergeant. Don't put your heart on other things. Lin Feng said softly. I'll work hard, Brother Lin. Yi Xiao nodded heavily. Lin Feng said goodbye to Yi Xiao. I'll give you a month's time. You must get to 4,500 points and enter the top 30 of the combat strength ranking. Okay. Yi Xiao's fighting spirit was reignited. Their eyes met, and Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction. Then he left. His war merit was not enough at all. The 3,500 points he got from selling a large amount of holy fruits was now empty. Fortunately, Lin Feng still had the 3,000, 6,000 battle points that he had scammed from Wei Xuanzhong twice. In addition to the 29 battle points that could be recorded in July's account, and the remaining 500 from before, Lin Feng still had 8,529 battle points. Here, the difference in war merit could be seen. How many points did an ordinary ace soldier get every month? Lin Feng was ranked 97th with 2,876 points. He was ranked 97th with 2,876 points, just 1 point away from the top 30, so he had 29 points. The top 50 and the top 30 will all be rewarded with war merit. Lin Feng thought. As long as he focused, with Yi Xiao's talent, he could definitely enter the top 30 in a month's time. At that time, he would be able to get twice the amount of war merit. At that time, he would be self-sufficient. The new land of destruction has been formed. It's time to test the new move. Lin Feng left the territory. I wonder, how many points can I get this time? Being in the top 10, every step forward would give him a lot of benefits. The score for the strongest attack was actually very simple. The standard for an ace lieutenant was 6,000 points, the standard for an elite commander was 7,000 points, and the standard for an ace commander was 8,000 points. He had a rough idea of which number he should reach. You can test now, the woman in charge of the strongest attack test shouted. Chapter 776. The test for the strongest attack was in the glory world. Only there could the most accurate simulation of ferocious beasts and ferocious heavenly demon experts. 10 cloud-filled paths appeared in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng was already very familiar with them after entering them once again. Every path represented a strong attack value. Last time, he had entered the 7th path. Points gained, 67-69. And this time, Schwa. Lin Feng did not hesitate to enter the 8th path. The strongest attack was between 70-8000. The 3 soldiers in charge of the test were all surprised. Lin Feng's previous score was on the record, which was only half a month ago. The 7th pathway had a rating of 70. This was the attack power standard of an elite commander. He was an ace captain. He's only an ace soldier. How can he achieve an attack rating of 70? The tall elite soldier asked doubtfully. Lin Feng's blade technique is quite outstanding. If he can fuse it with a perfect, profound meaning, he might be able to reach a 70 rating, the woman in charge of the test said. Didn't Sir Sunshine Man rely on this to get a 757 rating? The white-browed soldier asked. How can it be the same? The tall soldier said. Sir Sunshine Man not only comprehended a perfect, profound meaning, but also got a 70 rating. His strongest attack is only 70. Normally, a perfect, profound meaning comprehension would only get a 70 rating. Basically, all elite commanders who had reached the Nirvana stage had more or less comprehended a perfect, profound meaning. That was how the 7000 rating came about. It was no wonder that the 3 were confused. After all, Lin Feng's profound meaning score had not changed. It was still at 58-77. Although it was a peak profound meaning record, it was not a perfect profound meaning. Since he dares to enter the 8th path, I believe that Lin Feng has confidence. The white-browed soldier said, maybe his blade heart realm has increased, or he has fused with an even more powerful blade technique. Or maybe he obtained a godly weapon. There are too many possibilities. Previously, his strongest attack score was 6,769. It is not impossible for him to reach a 70 rating. If he doesn't comprehend a perfect, profound meaning, his strongest attack shouldn't be able to reach a 70 rating, right? The tall elite soldier said. It's serene Jian, who possesses an ultimate grade origin point, using a peak profound intent to complement his sword arts. The strongest attack score is only 668 points. All right, stop arguing. You'll know soon enough, the woman in charge of recording said. The 8th tunnel. The test was simple. 5 ferocious beasts and 5 primordial heavenly demons would appear. There was no need for defense. As long as the attack power was stronger than the defense of the ferocious beasts and heavenly demons, it would be considered a success. As a matter of fact, it was the same in the 7th tunnel. However, the ferocious beasts and primordial heavenly demons that appeared in the 8th tunnel were undoubtedly much stronger. Compared to the new storm, the new land of annihilation is much more powerful. But to be on the safe side for the first test, let's start with 70. 3. Lin Feng estimated that the new land of destruction would be somewhere between 75 and 76 points. 2 rounds earlier would ensure that there would be no mistakes, and 2 would allow them to adjust their condition. If he wanted to unleash his strongest attack, he naturally couldn't unleash it in an instant. Step by step, the explosive power after warming up would be greater. Roar. A bull-headed monster with dark brown horns appeared with a roar. Its terrifying figure was filled with a violent aura. It was a 100% ferocious beast. Instantly, its dark brown horns glowed with a black light. It charged forward at an extreme speed, causing the entire space to tremble. Black fog slowly rose, and a shadow appeared behind its huge figure. It was like a furious, bull-headed demon king. Clang! Lin Feng's black eyes flashed, and his entire body glowed with a golden light. Whether it was the profound intent test or the strongest attack, they were all hidden tests. They didn't know the specific strength of the officers and soldiers involved. After all, they had to keep a secret. Lin Feng was very familiar with the process. He used the 8th tier of the titanium gray body. Lin Feng's physical fitness increased to the limit. After entering the nirvana realm, the true strength of a human was the realm and the power of profound intent. Lin Feng possessed both the demon race's power technique and the profound intent of a human. In addition, he had the ultimate grade Tai nether source. Therefore, although he was only at the 9th level of the nirvana realm, his peak profound intent was still able to unleash his strongest attack that was close to 70 points. Now that he had comprehended the new land of annihilation, 70 points had already been trampled to dust. Following Lin Feng's roar, the black dragon roared and directly broke through the bull-headed monster's defense. Light flashed. The black-brown horned dire beast disappeared. He got 7400 points. The test was 73 to 74 points. As long as he could defeat it in one attack, he would be able to obtain 74 points and continue to the next test. Of course, this didn't mean that Lin Feng had killed the beast. The real battle wouldn't be so simple. Whether it was the beast or the primordial heavenly demon, they all had intelligence and extremely strong fighting ability. Moreover, the strongest attack was only one part of the strength. 74 points, 75 points, 76 points. The 3 soldiers in charge of recording the test were shocked. It was rare to see someone break through so quickly in just half a month, especially above 70 points. Every increase of 10 points was difficult. Lin Feng was only an ace soldier. Not only did he surpass the 60 points standard of an ace captain, he even surpassed the 70 points standard of an elite captain. 77 points. The 3 captains took a deep breath. He comprehended the perfect, profound intent. The tall elite soldier was shocked. Yes, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to achieve such an increase of 10 points. The white-brow elite soldier's eyes lit up, 77 points. It's even higher than Master Guangnan's score. Wei Sun's loss wasn't unjust. He really is a monster. Soldier level comprehended the perfect, profound intent. The woman in charge of the test raised her head. His abilities are not inferior to Master Guangnan's from 3 years ago. I believe that entering the glory team is only a matter of time. I'm afraid we won't be able to see his back for the rest of our lives. The tall elite soldier sighed. This is a true genius. So powerful. The white brow elite soldier sighed. The three's eyes were filled with envy and admiration. Even though Lin Feng didn't break through 78 points, his score had increased by 10 points compared to his previous score of 6,769. His battle strength score will increase again. His battle strength ranking will increase from 8th to 6th. His soldier level has entered the top 6 of the Ace Army ranking. Terrifying. Don't forget, his profound intent level hasn't increased yet. The beautiful eyes of the woman in charge of the test flickered. His current battle strength score has reached 649, surpassing the vice captain Lung Yuqing in 6th place. If his profound intent level increases again, the three's eyes lit up. They were deeply shocked. To be continued. Chapter 777. What, 649? Bai Si's eyes widened. Didn't you see the rankings? It's all over the place. Lung Yuqing drank. The two of us have become Lin Feng's background. On the rankings, the original 7th place was by C6375. The 6th place was Lung Yuqing 641. The two vice-captains of Team Taotai and Team Baizhe had both been pushed down by 1 place. Lin Feng surpassed Lung Yuqing with 649, becoming the new 6th place. This little monster, he's still a soldier? Bai Si was stunned. Lung Yuqing nodded. Should be. I heard that not long after he came out of the glory world, the rankings were updated. My strongest attack has increased by 10%. Bai Si murmured, his eyebrows furrowed as he sighed silently. He picked up the wine gourd and began drinking. 3 years ago, when we saw a light man rise from the Ace Army to the Glory Army, we were already Ace Army captains. Today, we are still Ace Army captains, but a new light man has appeared. Before light man's bloodline awakened a second time, he wasn't as good as Lin Feng. Lung Yuqing said, the younger generation will surpass us in time. Bai Si sighed. To be able to rank in the top 10 of the rankings as long as they don't die, every one of them will enter the glory team. Lung Yuqing shook his head. Unfortunately, Lin Feng is too easily affected by emotions, joining the Kuei team. What a terrible choice. Bai Si shrugged his shoulders. The Ace captains probably didn't know, but the Kuei team's internal problems were clear to the other 5 Ace captains. If the upper beam isn't straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Even though the Kuei team's battle strength wasn't bad on paper, they were ranked last out of the 6 Ace captains. Even Team Taodai was better than them. See? Therefore, Lin Feng's decision made all the Ace captains feel pity for him. A bad move, especially since Lin Feng had improved even further, ranking 6th. With his current strength, even getting 10,000 gold wouldn't be too much. It had been a long time since such a talented genius had appeared in the Glory 7 Alliance. 6th, Lin Feng arrived at his territory. His gaze fell on the 5th place Qilin team, Captain Jean Qilin, with 6,655 points. 6 points off, Lin Feng said softly. A single point increase is 113 points. My profound meaning points are 5877. If I want to be ranked 5th, I need to reach 707 points. Perfect profound meaning. Lin Feng was clear about the direction of his ranking. Perfect profound meaning's integral range. The score is 6000, 7999 points. A normal perfect profound intent is between 60 to 70. However, if it's a whirlpool-type profound intent, with the help of the whirlpool, it can increase the power of the whirlpool. I can unleash 70% of the arcane intent origin's power. Lin Feng looked up again, his gaze fixed. Qianhe, 6838, ranked 4th. I'm too far away from him at the moment. Being ranked 5th in the army should be my limit. Lin Feng wasn't too ambitious. Above Qianhe, there were 3 even stronger people with 70 points. They were the captain of the Azure Dragon Squad, the strongest ace Captain Qin Tiansheng, the captain of the White Pool Squad, Wu Qi, and the captain of the Phoenix Squad, Ying Li. They will all participate in the Path of Glory qualification battle. With my current strength, Meeting them bodes ill rather than well. The three elite captains are equally strong. Fortunately, it's only the first round of selection. There's still time. My current strength isn't at the bottom among all the participants. It's not impossible for me to enter the second round. Lin Feng was now fully focused on the path of glory qualification battle. It happened only once a year. There's still half a month. Lin Feng was full of fighting spirit. The happiest person at this moment was undoubtedly Qian He. The stronger Lin Feng was, the stronger his Kuei squad was, the greater their reputation. Previously, he felt a little reluctant, but now that he had spent 50 points on Yi Xia, it was simply too profitable. As for Ji Zixuan, Qian He didn't even care about her. Women were like clothes to him. Of course, except for Xi Manzi. On the Nemo planet, there were very few outstanding women who were sought after. The marriage of two experts with outstanding bloodlines would definitely result in a high bloodline concentration. Needless to say, Xi Manzi herself was a top-notch beauty, the type that could bring disaster to the country. Manzi isn't here again? Qian He's eyes widened. Yes, sir. An oval-faced maid said submissively. Where did she go? Qian He released his aura. The oval-faced maid was just an ordinary person. How could she compare to this Ace Army's #1 Sacred Force cultivator? Her face turned pale. My lady went to Sir Lin's territory. Again, Qian He's face turned purple. Gritting his teeth and trembling with anger, Qian He's figure disappeared. Damn it. Lin Feng, just you wait. Territory 111. Clang. Ding. Two streaks of light intersected and instantly separated. A man and a woman landed on the ground. The world of sword and blade instantly shattered, and the hostility disappeared. You've improved a lot, Manzi. Lin Feng put away Black Skeleton. Because of you. Xi Manzi smiled softly. Her face was bright red, and she looked very gentle. It's the result of your own hard work. Lin Feng smiled. During this period of time, he had been sparring with Xi Manzi. Her improvement was faster than he had expected, and he had also been constantly improving his battle strength. The two of them complemented each other. When fighting with Manzi, he could not be distracted for even a moment. Her charm technique was getting stronger and stronger, and was almost comparable to Yi Xia's illusion technique. Although he would not be charmed by her, the slightest carelessness and distraction would result in serious consequences. Leaving the competition room, Lin Feng and Xi Manzi chatted and laughed from time to time. They were becoming more and more familiar with each other. Those who did not know would think that the two of them were having an affair, but in reality, they were just friends. Of course, they were good friends. Lin Feng. A loud shout came from afar. Lin Feng and Xi Manzi looked over and saw Qian He's twisted face. Xi Manzi blinked her eyes charmingly, as if telling Lin Feng to do as he saw fit. I'll leave first. I'll find you tomorrow. With that, she waved her red sleeves, leaving behind a fragrant wind. Xi Manzi disappeared in an instant. Her voice clearly fell into Qian He's ears, and his eyes were filled with jealousy. Is something the matter, Captain? Lin Feng walked towards Qian He. What is your relationship with Manzi? Qian He stared at Lin Feng, his face turning green and red. Friends, Lin Feng said. You have such close friends? Qian He's eyes were about to pop out. Yes, Lin Feng said. You. Qian He's upper body trembled slightly. You can't be so close to Manzi. Why? Lin Feng smiled. Because. Qian He's words were somewhat incoherent as he gritted his teeth. Why are you asking so many questions? No matter what, you just have to stay away from her. Women are femme fatale. Yi Xia's example is still fresh in my mind. You are a genius, so don't be tied down by emotions. That's it. Captain. Lin Feng's expression was calm, and his voice carried a trace of coldness as he interrupted him. Don't you think you're meddling too much? Chapter 778. I'm doing this for your own good. Qian He's veins popped out. Do you know how many geniuses have lost because of love? How many geniuses, housekeeper Gongsun? Lin Feng directly interrupted. Qian He was startled. Yes, sir. Housekeeper Gongsun replied. See the guest out. Lin Feng would not argue with Qian He because it was meaningless. Lin Feng, Qianhe's eyes were spitting fire, his chest heaving up and down. Good, very good. You will regret it one day. Saying this, he angrily turned and left, like a tiger that had lost its mind, roaring at housekeeper Gong Sun. Get away. Housekeeper Gong Sun lowered his head and retreated to the side. Looking at Qianhe's departing figure, Lin Feng had a faintly discernible smile on his face. He did not plan to join the Kuei squad, so it did not matter if he offended Qianhe or not. This kind of person, the more you accommodated him, the more he would take advantage of you. Sir, housekeeper Gong Sun hesitated. Don't worry, I have my own plans. Lin Feng knew what Gong Sun wanted to say. Yes, sir. Qianhe's interlude did not affect Lin Feng at all. Want to see? What he should do, he would continue to do. Lin Feng would not change himself because of Qianhe, because there was no need for that. Every day, under Qianhe's burning gaze, he continued to exchange pointers with Shimanzi, increasing his battle strength in preparation for the path of glory. The two separated in an instant, a smile appearing on their faces as they looked at each other. It's about time. Lin Feng sheathed his blade. Are you confident? Shimanzi's eyes sparkled, smiling faintly. 50-50, Lin Feng nodded. The number of participants for the first round should be announced today. I don't know how many there are. Shimanzi nodded slightly. About 50. Last year it was 55, the year before that it was 58, and the year before that it was 5. Usually it's between 50 and 60. Lin Feng lightly nodded. There were not many people who could participate in the path of glory, divided into 3 groups. One of them was a Nirvana Ascension member of Team Glory. Basically, they were the weakest in the qualification battle. After all, no matter how strong their potential was, they still had to use it. Since they had not reached the Saint Ascension stage, their potential was limited. However, it was not impossible to rule out the fact that some of the monsters were extremely powerful. Normally, there would be less than 3 people participating in the competition. Secondly, the Ace Army's territory battle points must be above 60. This was the middle echelon of the path of glory qualification battle. The number of participants should be around 10. Thirdly, if all the elite commanders and captains wanted to participate in the competition, they would have to pay 10,000 military service points. The elite captains participating here were basically Nirvana stage powerhouses. It was only because they didn't accumulate enough military service points that they didn't obtain the rank of elite commander. This group of people had the most number of elite captains, and their strength was also the strongest. Currently, there were 3 elite captains. However, there are very few who can last until the end of the first round of selection, Lin Feng said. Glory's members will be participating in the second round. Shimanzi said softly. Every one of them is basically on par with the elite commanders, and some of them are even stronger. Third round, Glory Team Leader, Vice Leader. When the Ace Army captains participate, they will be the strongest contenders for the path of glory. Lin Feng smiled. The next round of competition for the 12 alliances will be the most intense. If we can enter the competition for the 12 alliances, that would be too exciting. The competition for the 12 alliances was the 4th round. At this time, the elite experts, glory captains, and Ace Army captains of each alliance would all appear. If he could fight against these experts, just thinking about it made him feel excited. However, Lin Feng knew his own situation. With his current strength, to enter the competition for the 12 alliances, it was impossible. There was almost no possibility. Everything depends on effort. Shimanzi smiled gently. Is the first round of drawing lots today? Yes. Lin Feng nodded his head. After comprehending the new land of destruction, he had originally planned to enter the profound meaning world. However, he had dragged it out for a few days so that he could enter the group at the end of July. After all, it was easy to enter a state of immersion when comprehending profound meanings. If he missed out on the path of glory because of this, it would not be worth it. Then let's go. Shimanzi smiled sweetly. Her fragrance was close to Lin Feng's nose. Okay, glory territory. It was bustling with noise and excitement. Today, the glory territory did not set any restrictions. All the elite soldiers and ace soldiers could enter to see what was going on. Most of the soldiers in the Glory territory were very curious. The dense crowd was a boiling cauldron of voices. They had come to watch the Path of Glory's group draw lots. Although it was unofficially opened, it was already so attractive. "This is a grand occasion for the Glory Alliance," Shimanzi lightly said. "Every year during the Path of Glory competition, it is also a competition to test the fighting strength of the 12 guilds. The champion is usually chosen from Guild 1, Guild 2, or Guild 3. Lin Feng nodded his head. The 12 alliances were divided according to the size of the human territory. Glory Alliance 1, 2, and 3 had the largest territories and the longest histories. Naturally, their foundations were deeper and they had more experts. Glory Alliance 7 was in the middle. They could not be compared to the top, but they could be compared to the bottom. The smallest was Glory Alliance 12, which was a newly opened territory. However, in the last Glory Alliance 11, a genius appeared out of nowhere and broke the monopoly of Glory Alliance 1, 2, and 3, becoming the champion. Shimanzi said, "After all, it's a competition of individuals. There will always be some special factors." Lin Feng smiled. In the Path of Glory competition, the champion was too far away from him. Even if he wanted to enter the Glory Alliance 12, the chances were not high. He had to pass through 3 rounds and face the sniping of the Glory team. Thinking of Commander He and Light Man's strength, Lin Feng could not help but bitterly smile. The gap between them was not small. Nirvana stage. Nirvana stage. Lin Feng sighed as he walked. Nirvana stage experts were rare in the Ace territory, but there were many in the Glory territory. They were all elite commanders, and there were also some elite captains. Sage Ascension cultivators could be found everywhere. They were the top Nirvana Ascension cultivators in the 33 continents. In the Glory Alliance, there were many of them. They were only 1 level higher than normal people. Lin Feng felt a burning gaze. Turning his head, he saw Qian He burning with jealousy. Beside him was Hua Shan, who was also looking at him with envy. Lin Feng smiled and nodded to the two as a greeting before turning his head. Beside him, Shimanzi seemed to be doing it on purpose. Her full chest pressed closer to Lin Feng, who could not help but bitterly smile. "Qian He's about to go crazy." Shimanzi breathed into his ear. "Is there need to do this?" Lin Feng was also helpless. Anger him to death. Shimanzi bit her lips. Her crafty gaze was like a little witch's. Lin Feng could not help but smile. After interacting with her for a long time, he knew that although Shimanzi looked mature and charming, she was still a pure girl. To be continued. Chapter 779. It's Lin Feng, Lai Man's second. He also came to participate in the group drawing. He even brought a woman. Isn't he too arrogant? Lin Feng's appearance immediately caused a heated discussion. Take a look. Not only because of his recent fame, but also because of Shimanzi's outstanding appearance. Light Man second was enough to show Lin Feng's popularity. He was currently the strongest person in the Glory team. 3 years ago, Light Man shocked the entire Ace army. But that was it. Among the soldiers of the Glory Alliance, Lin Feng could be ranked first or second. Among the captains, he could be ranked in the upper echelons. But in this Path of Glory competition, Lin Feng as a soldier was nothing more than that. Even if Light Man's luck was good, he only made it to the 3rd round. Entering the competition of the 12 alliances as a soldier, this had only happened once in the entire history of the 7 alliances. The reserve member of the Glory team, He Qing, a Nirvana stage expert. Hey, another little guy. Whoever can be in the same group as this little guy will benefit. The strongest soldier? No matter how strong he is only at the Nirvana stage. Moreover, he is only the strongest soldier of the Ace Army. I heard that this time the Glory team has 2 reserve members who are also at the 9th level of the Nirvana stage. They are definitely stronger than him. One of them even has a dragon mark. Descendant of the true dragon, Aoa. This is the strongest soldier. I heard that he already has the qualifications to directly enter the 2nd Glory team. The elite captains in front were talking and laughing, completely ignoring Lin Feng. With their strength and experience, they naturally wouldn't care about a mere soldier-level opponent. Lin Feng had used the elite army several times to establish his prestige, and had long since aroused the disgust of these elite army commanders. They mocked and ridiculed him with disdain. Dragon Mark, descendant of the true dragon Ao Lai. Lin Feng whispered in his heart. Although he wasn't very familiar with the Nirvana world, he knew a bit from Manzi, especially the Ao family. There were a total of 4 Ao families in the Nirvana world. They were all descendants of the true dragon, but their bloodlines were different and they belonged to different forces. The Ao family of Handong, the Ao family of Southern Prison, the Ao family of Western Prison, and the Ao family of Northern Prison. The dragon mark represented the concentration of their bloodline. The stronger the bloodline, the earlier the dragon mark appeared, the stronger the dragon mark would appear before or after the first bloodline awakening. The weaker the dragon mark would also appear after the second bloodline awakening. Of course, in the legends of the Ao clan, there were also those who were born with dragon tattoos. A true monstrous genius. I wonder which Ao clan Ao Jianwei belongs to. Lin Feng thought. The Ao family wasn't in a state of disunity, but they weren't united either. The 4 Ao families each had their own way of doing things, and none of them had anything to do with each other. Therefore, he only offended one of the Ao clan. He didn't show any dragon markings, so it's hard to tell. Lin Feng thought. He had been paying attention to the Ao family. After all, he had killed Ao Jianwei's clone and killed Ao Lin. The 33 continents had been destroyed. He must hate me to the core. He wouldn't let him go, and he wouldn't let him go either. This kind of deep hatred could only be resolved with the death of one party. They're here, Shi Manzi said softly. At this moment, there was a commotion in the distance. Lin Feng looked over, and 3 figures gradually appeared. The one in front was wearing a purple battle suit. His slightly raised eyebrows were filled with confidence and calmness. He wasn't overbearing, but he had a power that looked down on everyone. His appearance instantly shocked everyone present. Guangnan. Lin Feng was shocked. That day, he was the captain of Glory Team 1, who had defeated him effortlessly. Behind him, there were 2 youths who were about the same age as him. The one on the left had a jade-like face. He gave people a feeling of being bathed in the spring breeze. The one on the right had an awe-inspiring battle intent. A dragon tattoo appeared on his neck, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. He's Ao Lai, Lin Feng thought. With one look, one could tell that he wasn't a good person. His strength was probably not below Lin Feng's, and he deserved the title of the strongest soldier. Actually, he could directly become a member of Glory Team. Even if he was a preparatory member, his talent and potential were quite good. Shua. Guangnan glanced over. When their eyes met, Lin Feng couldn't help but be startled. In almost an instant, Guangnan had already turned and brought Ao Lai and the other person in his direction. The surrounding people consciously made a path for them. In an instant, Lin Feng and Ao Lai became the focus of attention. Lin Feng. Guangnan smiled and raised his hand, greeting him. Sir. Lin Feng nodded. Beside him, Shi Manzi nodded slightly. As expected, you came. Guangnan seemed very happy. He patted Lin Feng's shoulder. Come, let me introduce you. This is Yi Heng, a preparatory member of Team 1. This is Ao Lai, a preparatory member of Team 2. Looking at Yi Heng and Ao Lai, Guangnan said, This is the person I mentioned to you before, Lin Feng of the Ace Army. Hello, call me Heng. The youth on the left, Yi Heng, smiled and extended his hand. Hello. Lin Feng extended his hand and shook it, then let go. Turning his head, Lin Feng looked at the dragon-tattooed youth, Ao Lai, and greeted him hello. Ao Lai's gaze merely slanted as he gave a cold laugh, seeming to be disdainful. He completely ignored Lin Feng's outstretched hand as he stared intensely at Shi Manzi, Ao Lai, the Ao family of Handong. Let's be friends. Lin Feng and Guang Nan were startled, but Yi Heng smiled indifferently, as if he had already guessed it. Shi Manzi blinked her charming eyes and gently pulled Lin Feng's outstretched hand. I have no interest in being friends with you. A casual sentence and a casual action instantly turned Lin Feng's awkward silence into Ao Lai's causing A.O. Lai's handsome face to twitch and anger to flash through his brows. He had always been able to get whatever he wanted. Which woman wouldn't obediently submit to him if he wanted her? When had he ever been ignored like this? You. A.O. Lai ground his teeth. Oomph. A heavy snort sounded, and A.O. Lai's entire body shook, and he woke up, cold sweat dripping from his forehead. Sorry, Lin Feng. A.O. Lin's personality is more independent, so don't take it to heart. Guangnan smiled, but his gaze towards A.O. Lai carried a trace of coldness, causing A.O. Lai to not dare move. He could ignore Lin Feng, but Guangnan, he couldn't afford to offend him. It's nothing. Lin Feng smiled. Team 2 is full of freaks. Yiheng laughed heartily. So, Brother Lin, remember to choose Team 1 in the future. Lin Feng nodded with a slight smile. We'll go first. Let's chat again when we have the chance, Brother Lin. Yiheng said. Okay, Lin Feng replied. Watching the three leave, Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. The two reserve members of Team Glory had different personalities. Of the four A.O. families, Handong's A.O. family was the most powerful. A.O. Lai's arrogance was not without reason, and his strength was indeed tyrannical. Yiheng gave him a good impression. Although he also hid a bit of arrogance, his cultivation was much better than A.O. Lai's. Thank you. Lin Feng turned to look at Shi Manzi. You're welcome. Shi Manzi's cherry lips curved slightly, charming and moving. To be continued. Chapter 780. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, all the elite commanders looked over, and the feeling was completely different. The rumors from before had disappeared, and all the elite commanders were careful with their words and actions. Guangnan had not pretended to be pretentious or hide anything. Obviously, he had already treated Lin Feng as one of his own, especially what Yiheng had said. It was almost certain that Lin Feng would join the Glory team in the future. There was a huge difference between an ace army and a glory army. Just like the difference between an elite army and an ace army, it represented strength and potential. Lin Feng entered the center of the field, where only the participants could enter. At this time, there were already more than 50 people gathered. Lin Feng's gaze swept across them. Although they were all hiding their auras, he could still feel the tyrannical power, secretly ostracizing and hostile. Most of them were Nirvana stage elites, elite captains and elite commanders. So many, Lin Feng calculated secretly. There were a total of 46 people. Apart from the 3 elite captains, it was clear that there were 14 or more elite captains who came to participate in the competition out of their own pockets. 10,000 battle merits was not a lot, but it was not a small amount either. It was enough to buy the best high-grade Heaven Step Saint treasures and top-grade Heaven Step Saint fruits. Qianhe, Huashan. Lin Feng was surprised, but he did not expect Huashan to be among them. His combat strength points last month were only 588, not even 60 points. As if feeling his gaze, the two of them also looked over with jealousy and hostility. His improvement is fast. Lin Feng did not care. To be able to enter an ace army, one's potential was not ordinary. Huashan, as one of the best among the ace soldiers, was not an ordinary person. It was not impossible for him to increase his combat strength points by 10 points in close to a month. Moreover, he was a holy power cultivator and only needed to test 4 combat strength points. His gaze continued to sweep, and Lin Feng soon saw a few familiar faces. The leader of the Qilin team, Jin Qilin, the deputy leader of the base team, Lung Yuqing, and the deputy leader of the Taodai team, Bai Si. They were in the top 10 of the ace army and had more than 60 points. They all nodded and greeted each other. Their relationship was not bad. She should be Poppy. Lin Feng looked into the distance. It was a woman with long hair and a silk scarf on her face. She was tall and slender, and it wasn't hard to recognize her. Combat points, 708. Captain of the Phoenix Squad. Wu Qi. Lin Feng's gaze sharpened. Standing beside Poppy was a short man who was shorter than Poppy by a head. He had a harmless smile on his face, but in actual fact, he was the second strongest fighter in the Ace Army, with his battle prowess points as high as 7379. However, he did not see Qin Tiansheng. He was the strongest genius of the Ace Corps, the leader of the Azure Dragon Squad. His battle strength score was as high as 778 points. He's not participating? Lin Feng murmured. At this moment, a familiar figure waved at him from afar. It was Yi Heng, whom he had just met. Lin Feng immediately walked over. I've heard so much about Brother Lin. Yi Heng smiled valiantly. Is Brother Yi exaggerating? This is the first time we've met. Lin Feng smiled. Yi Heng laughed. It's absolutely true. Brother Lin, your name is very famous in our Glory Squad one. Eh? Lin Feng was surprised. I won't hide it from Brother Lin. Although you're in the Ace Corps, you've already been selected by the captain. We're just waiting for you to break through 80 points to enter our Glory Squad one. Yi Heng said, I still don't understand. Lin Feng was confused. It's a long story. Does Brother Lin know about the Sky Law incident that caused a commotion before? Yi Heng said, Sky Law incident? Lin Feng bitterly smiled and shook his head. He seemed to know too little about the Nirvana world. Yi Heng pursed his lips and muttered, I forgot that Brother Lin has only been in the Nirvana world for 2 months. It's not strange that you don't know. Simply put, because of the Sky Law incident, our Glory Squad, one suffered heavy losses. Of the 6 people, only the Captain Lightman and the Vice Captain Meng Meng escaped. The other 4 members were completely annihilated. Lin Feng took a deep breath. For members of Glory, all dead, the strength of a Glory member was comparable to some Ace Army commanders. Only 2 members of Glory Squad 1 exist in name. Yi Heng said, the captain of Glory Squad 2, Shadow Sword, didn't get along with the captain. He wasn't willing to give up his members. Fortunately, Ruan Meng returned from the path of glory, and her strength increased by leaps and bounds. She entered the Saint Realm and became the 3rd member. Normal squads have 5 to 8 people, for people are always needed, so the missions are all carried out by Glory Squad 2. Lin Feng nodded his head. Shadow Sword was the same as him. He had an ultimate quality source essence, one of the 2 ultimate masters of Glory's 7 alliances. This continued for a few months before the army commander made an exception and let the captain pick himself. But who would have thought that the captain didn't pick anyone and just came? Yi Heng said. Later, the captain said that he already had a candidate in mind. It was you, Lin Feng. Me? Lin Feng was startled. He suddenly understood. No wonder Master Lightman had come to find him. It was for this matter. There's no rush. First, I'll focus on cultivation for the next half of the year. Second, I'll need some time to reach the Saint Realm. Therefore, I'm not in a hurry to pull you up. It'll be a source of ridicule. Yi Heng said, the captain said that with your strength and talent, it won't be a problem for you to enter Glory Squad within half a year. Lin Feng smiled. Master Lightman really thought highly of him. It could be seen that Glory Squad 1 and Glory Squad 2 were competitors. If Master Lightman used his authority, it would be hard to avoid ridicule. Therefore, he would try not to use it. Half a year? It should be possible. Lin Feng said. Yi Heng smiled. That's why I said I've heard of you for a long time. I didn't lie to you. Ruan Ming also often mentions you and considers you her biggest competitor. It's my honor. Lin Feng smiled. While they were talking, there was a commotion in the distance. Lin Feng couldn't help but turn his head. He saw 2 handsome figures walking side by side. The one on the left, wearing military boots, looked younger. There was a deep mark between his eyebrows. It should be a bloodline. The one on the right had a sturdy body, like steel that had been tempered thousands of times. His whole body exuded a trembling aura. Qin Tiansheng. Lin Feng looked at the young man on the left. He finally saw him. Hong Bao, known as Lord Leopard, the strongest elite commander. Yi Heng said, he's recognized as the strongest in the first round. The 2 should have just finished exchanging pointers. Lin Feng looked over. Sure enough, there were still traces of fighting spirit left on his body. Lin Feng couldn't help but look at Yi Heng. He was indeed worthy of being a reserve member of Glory Squad. His observation skills were quite meticulous. Who's stronger? Lin Feng asked. Hong Bao. Yi Heng said without hesitation. In theory, Hong Bao is already comparable to our Glory Squad members. But Qin Tiansheng is still a bit lacking. Lin Feng nodded his head. Qin Tiansheng's current points were 778, while the standard for a Glory squad member was 80. But their real strength is probably on par. Ehang's eyes were like torches. One more chapter to be continued. Chapter 781. Why do you think so? Lin Feng was curious. Aura, Ehang said. Hong Bao will not be merciful when he attacks, but the two of them are not injured. This shows their strength, and Hong Bao will not bully the weak. It must be Qin Tiansheng who want to challenge him. This proves that Qin Tiansheng is confident in his own strength. Finally, you see the two of them walking side by side. Hong Bao is not arrogant at all. This represents a kind of recognition, psychological recognition. Based on the above 3 points, Qin Tiansheng's true battle strength is probably higher than his theoretical battle strength. He is very likely to be on par with Hong Bao. Lin Feng was speechless as he listened. Ehang was able to analyze all the clues in such a clear and logical manner. Strong. Lin Feng could not help but praise. If he fought with Ehang, it would be very easy for him to find his weakness and attack. Ehang said, "The two of them are very strong. I believe they will have no problem entering the third round." Lin Feng smiled. He did not care about Ehang's irrelevant answer. Just as he was about to speak, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. Everyone held their breath. Lin Feng frowned. An enormous aura appeared like a cloud and completely covered the area. The aura was so strong that it made people unable to move. Ha! It was a man dressed in martial attire. His hands were clasped behind his back, and his eyes were as cold as an eagle's. He had a braid at the back of his head, and his gaze swept across the crowd like a king looking down on his subordinates. "I am the leader of the White Ram Army. This time, I will be in charge of the competition for the path of glory of the 7 alliances." His voice was clear and carried an unquestionable pressure. No one would question him because his strength was enough to conquer everyone. Look, Army Leader, the highest existence in the Glory Alliance and even the human world. A Nirvana stage expert, a higher level of life, a higher level of power. For Lin Feng, this was shocking. This was the first time he had seen a Nirvana stage expert. In the Glory Alliance, the ace commanders were the main managers, and the elite commanders were the assistants. The existence of the army leader level would not do such trivial things. However, the path of glory was different. This was a grand occasion for the entire Glory Alliance. Most importantly, regardless of whether it was the elite corps commanders or the ace corps commanders, they were all participants. Naturally, it was impossible for them to host it at the same time. Ordinary soldiers could not bear such a heavy responsibility. Only an expert at the level of a general could intimidate the crowd. The head of the White Ram Army had absolute authority. New rules. The White Ram general raised his hand, and a huge memory metal plate fell to the ground with a rumble. What did that idiot Iwu choose last year? Our Glory 7 Alliance doesn't even have a single person in the top 10. Oomph. The heavy snort pressed down on the hearts of all the commanders present, and their faces turned green. Of the 60 people present, more than 50 had participated in the selection in the past year. After all, there was not much change in the number of experts every year, especially the elite commanders. However, there were still many unfamiliar faces, such as Lin Feng, Huashan, Ehang, and Ao Lai. It was usually the first time a soldier participated in a competition. The elite commanders did not dare make a sound when they were scolded. Even Iwu Junju was scolded as an idiot. What they were scolded for was already considered light. New rules. Lin Feng was secretly happy. He was not familiar with the old rules and was worried before. But now, he did not need to worry. They were all on the same starting line. The first round will be drawing lots. The White Ram general's gaze swept coldly. He pointed at the memory metal plate. 6 groups. Each group has 10 people. The top 3 of each group will enter the second round. I will tell you the specific rules before the first round begins. Now 6 of you come and draw lots. Don't look at others. Come up if you're called. Do you hear me? The White Ram general shouted. Yes, General. All the commanders replied in unison. The White Ram general nodded. According to the information, you will be divided into 10 groups based on your strength. Each group will have 6 people. You will be assigned star balls. First, 10 star balls, 6 people. Hong Bao, Ji Ji Sunday Ma Ing Jie, Qin Tian Shang, Peacock, De Ming Emperor. The 6 of you step out. Following the White Ram General's shout, the 6 experts stepped out from the crowd. 6 pairs of eyes glowed with fighting spirit. Lin Feng stared intently. Other than Qin Tian Shang, who was in the Sage stage, the other 5 were Nirvana stage experts. They were elite commanders. The order of the 6 should represent their strength, but this can only be used as a reference. It might not be accurate. Lin Feng recalled what Yi Heng had just said and inexplicably trusted his judgment. It was purely a feeling, but it was this feeling that told him that Yi Heng was right. The 6 of them took 10 star balls. They carved their names on the memory metal plate. The first group of 6 did not need to draw lots, because it was the same no matter which group it was. Hong Bao is in the first group, and Qin Tianshang is in the 4th group. They are the strongest. There is not much difference. At their level, I am not a match for any of them. Lin Feng knew himself well. Fortunately, the first round of selection was to pick the top 3 of each group. Even if one of the spots was taken by the 6, there were still 2 spots left. He might have a chance. Continue, people the 9-star ball tower. Gu Jin, Huang Momo, Li Zhen. The White Ram General called out 6 names. The 6 of them took 9 star balls. But this time, they needed to draw lots to decide which group to enter. After the drawing of lots, the 6 names were carved on the memory metal plate. It was the turn of the 3rd group of 8 star balls. Until the last name of the 6 was called out, no ace soldier's name appeared. Obviously, in the estimation of strength, the elite commander was undoubtedly stronger. In the 4th group, Wu Qi's name appeared. In the 5th group, Poppy's name appeared. In the 6th group, Qianhe and Jean Shielan's names appeared. Ao Lai appeared in the 7th group. Cold Rain City by sea. One by one, the ace captains with lower battle power points than Lin Feng appeared. Until the end of the 8th group, Lin Feng did not hear his name. His gaze deepened. The grouping was clearly based on strength. The advantage of this grouping was to avoid unexpected surprises and allow the best experts to enter the next round. It should be related to my strength. Also, I am inexperienced and do not have enough battle experience. Lin Feng was also calm. Even though the last 2 groups would face more experts and the chances of passing would be even slimmer, there was no point in complaining. The White Ram General's voice sounded again. Lin Feng. His eyes flashing, Lin Feng slowly stepped forward. He was the first of the 9th group. Commander Bai Jie's voice did not stop as he called out another 5 names in one breath, including Yi Heng. Lin Feng looked at Yi Heng. The latter smiled and nodded, as if saying that the 2 of them did not need to meet. He took 2 star balls. Lin Feng picked up a token. The number on it would decide which group he would enter. When a number entered his eyes, Lin Feng frowned. To be continued. Chapter 782. Lot number 1. His luck in the lot didn't seem to be that good. On the memory metal board, the strongest name was engraved at the top of every 10 rows. The first person in the first group was the strongest elite commander. Hong Bao. The first person in the 9th batch is also in the first group. Lin Feng smiled. He placed the number 1 token on the table. His right hand moved like a knife and engraved his name on the first column of the 9th row of the memory metal board. In a split second, there was an uproar. The other commanders of the 9th batch, behind Lin Feng, all let out a sigh of relief. Of the 3 elite commanders, no one was willing to be in the same group as Hong Bao, nicknamed Lord Leopard. Actually, there isn't much difference. Lin Feng hid the 2 planets and returned the way he came. Even if he wasn't in the first group, it would be the same even if he was in the other 5 groups. With his current strength, he definitely wasn't a match for the top 5 elite commanders and Qin Tiansheng. Fortunately, the rules weren't that strict. Every group had 3 people who could advance. Even the weakest one didn't necessarily have no hope of advancing. Lin Feng looked ahead. Yi Shuheng was holding the number 6 token and waving it at him. His luck in the lot was obviously better. Not far away, a look of sympathy shot over. It was Bai Si, who had drawn the lot before him. He and Lung Yuqing were in the 8th batch. Lung Yuqing drew lot number 3. Bai Si drew lot number 1. Ao Lai was in the 7th batch and drew lot number 5. The one who drew lot number 1 in the 7th batch was an elite commander named Jinjiu. In the 6th batch, there were 2 ace commanders. Qian He, who was ranked 4th, drew lot number 4, and Jin Shilin, who was ranked 5th, also drew lot number 1. Broken Hand, Earthwalker, He Yin, Li Jun, Hong Bao. Lin Feng looked up from the 5th row and felt a chill in his heart. He didn't encounter any of the top 3 ace commanders, but the strength of these 5 elite commanders was probably not inferior, especially Li Jun and Hong Bao. Both of them were ranked among the top 10 elite army commanders, and their strength was at the top of their group. Wow, there was another uproar around. Lin Feng looked up and saw that Huoshan's face had already turned ashen even before he had drawn his lot. This was because the first 5 people in the 10th batch had already filled up the last 5 slots on the memory metal plate. Column 1. He's also number 1. Lin Feng smiled. Having one less competitor wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Huoshan, who had just broken through 6,000 points, was estimated to be the weakest among all the contestants. True to his name, go back and prepare well. When the time comes, I will give the first place participant of each group the most direct material reward. The White Ram Army's eyes were like torches, and the corner of his mouth drew a cold line. Everyone's eyes lit up. Even if the White Ram Legion Lord did not take out treasures, it would at least be a large amount of battle merits. On the first day of August, gather here on time. Latecomers will be disqualified. After saying this, his figure left the space. Lin Feng's eyes shone, but he couldn't see how the White Ram Army's chief left. His figure had already vanished. Only a large memory metal plate was left, and the name of each contestant was clearly engraved on it. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. It should be to give us time to understand our opponents. Lin Feng could guess the White Ram Army's intentions. There were still 10 days. It was not much, but it was not little either. With the groups, they could make more targeted preparations. Territory 111. Arcane Meaning World? Shimanzi said in surprise. You're not going to make targeted preparations? Lin Feng shook his head. Preparation may increase our chances of winning, but it's only limited to the first round. There will be the more difficult second round, and even the third round. Even if we are lucky enough to break through, the second round will be the top 3 of each group, plus the new Glory members. Targeted preparations. It was not useless. For those elite commanders whose strength had reached a bottleneck, the lieutenant was very useful, including Hong Bao. If they could get first place in their group, they would receive the reward of the White Ram Army's chief. That was a great Nirvana stage expert, and he would not be stingy. At that time, their strength would rise by another level. But for himself, even if he made targeted preparations, he could not get first place. It was better to make good use of the remaining 10 days. That makes sense. Shimanzi nodded. She blinked her eyes coquettishly. And you say you're not confident. You're already considering the second and third rounds. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. You have to think on the bright side. What if it happens? Besides, there are many variables in the first round. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. If I'm not wrong, it should be a 10-person battle royale, and it has to do with planets. Planets? Shimanzi was also very smart. The ones distributed? Lin Feng nodded. The White Ram Army's chief mentioned it before. The rules are different this time. There were no planets distributed last time. This must be one of the changes. In a one-on-one battle, strength is 90% of the factors. But in a battle royale, strength is often only 70%. The other 30% is geographical advantage and manpower. Besides, there are 3 places to qualify. Confidence, Lin Feng naturally had it. Although his strength was estimated to be in the 9th batch, he believed that it was inferred from his own information and some information about his battle with Wei Sun. Besides that time, when he exchanged pointers with Sir Lightman, his true strength had not been shown. Now that he had comprehended the newly extinguished land, his strength had increased by another level. Even if he could not reach the top 5 of the first group, he should at least be at the same level as Bai Si. He could even challenged the golden Qilin. Good luck, Shimanzi said softly. You can definitely do it. You too. Lin Feng looked at Shimanzi. Break through the 4,500 excellent line as soon as possible. Shimanzi's improvement was very obvious. Although she was not as talented as Yixia, she was also a rare genius of the Blood Tower. After entering the Glory Alliance, she fought steadily from rank 100 to rank 90, then to rank 80, then to rank 70. In the first half of the year, she was close to rank 60, and now, 3960, close to the 4,000 passing line. Her strength ranking was 53rd. I'm not as talented as Yixia. Even if he wasted a lot of time because of love, I believe that he can quickly catch up to me after he recovers. Shimanzi said softly, it's not difficult to cross the 4,000 passing line, but to exceed 4,500, it's not difficult. Lin Feng looked at Shimanzi. Your talent is not bad. You just lack enough resources. Here are 5,000 battle merits. Take them and use them first. Ah, Shimanzi was surprised. Lin Feng stuffed 2 yellow battle merit gems into Shimanzi's hands. I don't need a lot of battle merits now. He still had 8,481 battle merits. If he did not enter the heaven and earth realm, it would be more than enough. Compared to himself, Shimanzi's need for battle merits was greater. Just treat it as a promise payment. Lin Feng smiled. Shimanzi blinked her eyes, evil. You want me to sell myself to you for just 5,000 battle merits? Lin Feng smiled helplessly. As they were talking, housekeeper Gong Sunwen bowed and entered. Sir, Huashan requests an audience. Chapter 783. Hello, Brother Lin. Huashan entered the hall and greeted with a smile. Nice to meet you. Lin Feng smiled back at him. Nice to meet you. Huashan sat down. If it were not for the incident with Jizi Xuan, she might not have understood Huashan and Lin Feng, but now she knew very well that this handsome young man before her was a two-faced person. He was one on the outside and another on the inside. Manzi's evaluation of him was very simple, the Shan of hypocrisy. I didn't expect us to be on the same side, Brother Lin. Huashan smiled. The world is unpredictable, Lin Feng said. Huashan must have something to ask of him. Huashan nodded, thinking that Lin Feng was referring to the matter of joining the Kuei squad. He smiled. You and I are on the same boat, and we are in the same group for the Path of Glory. We can work together to make up for our shortcomings. Oh, Lin Feng understood. Huashan continued. I won't hide it from Brother Lin. It's harder than ascending to heaven for the two of us to snatch those 3 spots in the first group. Not to mention the 5 elite commanders led by Hong Bao. Even Jin Qilin and Bai Si can't be underestimated. Brother Lin might not know, but Jin Qilin and Bai Si have already formed an alliance. Alliance? Lin Feng was surprised. Regardless of whether Huashan was telling the truth, Jin Qilin and Bai Si's alliance was indeed a win-win situation. The two of them were not weak and had a good relationship. The two of them might not be able to deal with Hong Bao, but compared to the other elite commanders, they might have the upper hand. A strong alliance. I came here this time to form an alliance. Huashan was eloquent. Brother Lin, if the two of us work together, it will be an impressive force. Anything can happen in a chaotic battle. We might be able to take advantage of it and snatch those 2 spots. I understand, Lin Feng said. Huashan let out a soft, ah, and looked at Lin Feng in surprise. His eyes turned. Brother Lin, you agree? No. Lin Feng shook his head. I don't have such plans. Huashan frowned. His face suddenly turned cold. Brother Lin, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Lin Feng said, I am used to coming and going alone. People who walk different paths cannot make plans together. He would agree to Snowstorm and Shimanzi, but Huashan, fighting alongside him was like placing a bomb beside him. The first element of an alliance is united as one. Lin Feng, you. Huashan slammed the table and stood up. He was a little angry. You should know that I am the vice captain. So, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. Huashan's face turned green. You and I will go to the battlefield together in the future and listen to the captain's orders. Lin Feng smiled. First of all, you're not the captain. Furthermore, we are not on the battlefield right now. Last, Steward Gongsun, see the guest out. Lin Feng's face turned cold. He didn't want to waste too much time on Huashan. Yes, my lord, Butler Gongsun replied. Huashan was so angry that his face turned purple. He snorted coldly and left. You will regret this, Lin Feng. He left angrily. Lin Feng smirked at his impatient back view. He would let them settle the personal grudges between Yi Xia and Huashan. He didn't plan to interfere, but it didn't mean that he would accept Huashan. Alliance? If we meet in the path of glory, the first person I will eliminate will be you. Lin Feng had always been clear about his grudges. He didn't plan to form an alliance. In fact, Lin Feng didn't care how far he could go in the path of glory. After all, it wasn't realistic. In the first round, there were 3 commanders of the glory. In the second round, there were members of the glory team. In the third round, there were Lightman and Shadow Sword. Commander He Jin, these thresholds were like mountains. In the fourth round, he would have to face the super strong warriors from the other 12 regions. In the end, he could stand out and enter the 5th round to obtain the right to enter the path of glory. It was harder than ascending to heaven. Let's accumulate some experience this year. Next year, Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He knew that the next year would be a milestone for him. There were 2 huge obstacles that he had to overcome. One was the 7th Great Extinction on Earth in February, and the other was the true pupil contract in October. Each was harder than the other. Phew! Lin Feng let out a light breath. Although he didn't have any chance of winning in this path of glory, it was still a challenge to his limit. I'll do my best. I'll force myself to be the strongest. Lin Feng stepped into the profound will realm. There were 5 realms of profound will. Mid-profound will, high profound will, peak profound will, perfect profound will, and fused profound will. Lin Feng fell into the last 2 realms. To increase his strength, he had to comprehend the perfect profound will and fused profound will. I'm better at fusing, Lin Feng muttered. When I use fused profound will on remote Tai Star, I'll be able to display more power than other warriors. Peak profound will can surpass a perfect profound will. Peak profound will could be comparable to a perfect profound will, or even surpass it. After all, most Niemo experts' origin points were fused origin points. If their profound will and origin points were compatible, their power would stack. Moreover, it was easier to comprehend peak profound will than perfect profound will. Since profound wills were 1 level lower, it was easier to fuse them with blade and sword arts. But perfect profound will, it's the grand Tao. Lin Feng walked towards perfect profound will. If he hadn't seen Lord Lightman's light origin, he might have considered fused profound will. But now he didn't need to hesitate. Even if he comprehended peak profound will to perfection, it would be eliminated in the future. Perfect profound will would not. He wanted to increase his battle strength, but he didn't want to kill the goose that laid the golden eggs. Peak profound will cost 1 battle point to enter, and time limit was 1 month. Fuse profound will cost 1 battle point to enter, and time limit was 7 days. Perfect profound will cost 1 battle point per day. It was the most expensive, but it was worth it. All the profound wills were perfect profound wills that directly connected to the origin energy. Moreover, 1 battle point per day was nothing compared to the cost of heaven and earth domain. With his current battle points, even if he immersed himself in perfect profound will for 365 days a year, he would be able to last for more than 10 years. There are quite a few people. Lin Feng saw many elite captains and ace soldiers on his way. They were either standing, meditating, or sitting on the ground, drawing something or muttering to themselves. Comprehending profound will was difficult, but it was also easy. It was different from blade arts, which required many years of immersion. Comprehending profound will could be done in one go. Whether it was peak profound will or perfect profound will, or even the most basic profound will or elementary profound will, they were all interpretations of origin energy. It was a way to unleash origin energy. Actually, it's very similar to Earth's technology. Lin Feng said softly, origin energy is a type of energy, a stronger form of energy. Technology, such as electricity, solar energy, nuclear energy, and many other forms have been derived, but the core is the same application of energy. These methods of application are actually equivalent to different levels of profound will. Lin Feng pondered. His gaze landed in the distance. 5 people were sitting in front of stone steel. Lin Feng couldn't help but walk over. Chapter 784. Even though there were quite a few people with the perfect, profound concept, 5 people gathered together. It was quite rare. Along the way, Lin Feng had seen at most 2 people sitting in front of a mountain wall. Above them were chaotic sword images crisscrossing, explaining the power of metal. This time, the 5 of them were gathered together. The 8-meter tall stone steel in the middle was clearly special. Wah! Lin Feng's eyes shone. The stone steel was clearly engraved with lines of words. They were densely packed, as if they had been touched or comprehended. The 8-meter tall stone steel was almost completely filled. Aside from the words, there were still words. There were even many large characters stacked together, numbering over 10,000. Perfect, profound concept, sacred light. Lin Feng softly muttered in his heart. The demon race wreaked havoc on the earth. I have the heart to exterminate the demon race. After 15 years of seclusion, I comprehended the true essence of light, the sacred bloodline. Lin Feng's eyes were like torches, quickly reading 10 lines at a glance. The entire stone steel described a human expert's path of exterminating the demon race. In the middle, there were some comprehensions on the path of light cultivation. At the very bottom, there was a description of the perfect, profound concept, sacred light. Profound concepts that could only be understood but could not be described in words, could be so eloquently written in so many words. This human expert, named Wei Fu, has already comprehended the sacred light to an extremely profound level. Even the comprehensions on the path of light cultivation are of great help in obtaining the origin energy. No wonder so many people are gathered here. Lin Feng read to the end, his heart stirred. This profound concept gave him a familiar feeling, as if he had seen it somewhere before. That's right. Isn't this what Lord Lightman used that day when he sparred with me? Lin Feng suddenly remembered. However, when Lord Lightman used it, it was more of an explosion of the origin energy. The profound concept itself was like a medium and did not display its strongest power. Closing his eyes, the battle that day was still clear. I neglected that day. This profound concept's offensive power is actually not that strong. Lin Feng thought to himself. He opened his eyes and swept his gaze across the 5 people, his heart filled with doubt. The pursuit of power was the instinct of every expert. There was no reason to choose a weak, profound concept. Moreover, it was the choice of 5 people. There must be something special about the sacred light. Is it because the carvings are detailed and easy to comprehend? Lin Feng thought to himself. His figure flashed as he walked to the back of the stone tablet. Immediately, he felt an extremely powerful light concept that was filled with righteousness. It was as if it wanted to bring him into the world within the stone tablet. It was a painting with deep marks, as if it had been carved with a blunt weapon. Every single chisel, there seemed to be a meaning behind it. Depict at the front and apply at the back. In the perfect, profound concept, such a perfect, profound concept is rarely seen. Along the way, Shurian had only seen a few descriptions of the perfect Upanishad. They called it unspeakable, but in fact they were just lazy. It was normal for them to keep their knowledge to themselves. Lord Lightman also trains in divine light. Right now, the 5 of them are sitting around and training. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. His intuition told him that the more simple something seemed, the more complicated it was. If the divine light was as he thought, why would it attract so many experts? I want to see what secrets it is hiding. Lin Feng's curiosity was piqued, and he sat down as well. Different perfect, profound concepts have different types. The majority of perfect, profound concepts are built on the premise of origin energy. The divine light that I created with all my might uses the heart as the foundation. Once this profound concept is cultivated, my heart will descend upon the origin of light. But the result is the same. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. After reading it carefully, he finally understood. Simply put, perfect profound concepts, peak profound concepts, and mid-profound concepts had all been recognized by those who had acknowledged them. For example, blade arts had completely merged the shape of the blade and the blade intent together. It was very difficult to comprehend the essence of the blade intent just from the execution of the blade moves. But divine light was different. It completely separated the blade moves, and each move was independent of the other. From the combination of the blade intent of each move, one could infer the complete blade intent. It was much simpler. Therefore, divine light is weaker than normal perfect profound concepts. But cultivating and comprehending divine light will make it easier to comprehend the true essence of light compared to other perfect profound concepts, and obtain the approval of the origin of light. Lin Feng suddenly understood. The entire profound concept stone stele was filled with over 10,000 words, and there was even a profound concept painting. The difficulty of comprehending profound concepts was greatly reduced. If it was only to increase his battle strength, comprehending divine light was not as good as other perfect profound concepts, especially since he had the whirlpool body. But if it was to obtain the approval of the origin of light, he planned to cultivate for a long time. This was the best path for cultivation. Comprehending a whirlpool-type perfect profound concept might not necessarily obtain the approval of the origin of light. But as long as I can comprehend divine light, there is a 10% chance that I will obtain the approval of the origin of light. At that time, with the origin of light, even if I use a mid-level profound concept, it will be stronger than a perfect profound concept. Lin Feng thought to himself, and after obtaining the approval of the origin of light, it will be much easier to comprehend and cultivate profound concepts. This path was slow in the beginning, but in the later stages, the speed of improvement would be very fast. In front of the divine light stone stele, there was one more person. Lin Feng sat cross-legged, deeply comprehending the perfect, profound meaning that this expert, named Wei Fu, had exhausted all his efforts to create. The other 5 did not mind. In fact, they were very happy. It did not matter if there were more people. The stone stele was so big that they could see it clearly. While comprehending, they would also discuss and exchange their insights. After comprehending in front of the stone stele for a few days, Lin Feng had already recognized 5 people. There were 3 elite captains, 1 elite captain, and 1 ace captain. The first round of selection is in 3 days. How about it, Often? Are you confident? Elite Captain Qi Jiang laughed. I'll do my best. Lin Feng laughed. You speak as if you were definitely going to pass. Old Qi, you are only the 3rd seed. There are still 2 people in Group 5 who are stronger than you. Elite Captain Wang Yuan mocked. The 2 of them had a good relationship and often joked. After all, they had been here together for a few months. At least I'm better than a coward like you. Qi Jiang snorted. Wang Yuan rolled his eyes. You help me pay 10,000 merit points. Who told you not to go to the battlefield? Qi Jiang said. I joined the elite army later than you, but I've already accumulated enough merit points to become a captain. You have been in the army for so long, you still have a long way to go. Wang Yuan shrugged. I'm not in a hurry to leave the army. I'll take my time. Seeing the 2 of them start to argue again, Lin Feng could not help but laugh. Both of them were Nirvana-stage powerhouses, and their strength was not bad. Although Wang Yuan was an elite lieutenant, his strength was comparable to Qi Jiang's. However, if an elite lieutenant wanted to participate in the competition, he would have to pay 10,000 battle points, which made others flinch. For more days, Lin Feng whispered. Time passed very quickly in here, comprehending the profound concept. The path of glory qualification battle was getting closer and closer. To be continued. Chapter 785. For days passed in the blink of an eye. For the world of profound meaning, it was normal to stay in it for a year or so. Of course, one had to have enough battle merits. Comprehending a perfect profound meaning was much harder than comprehending a peak profound meaning. Unless one had a teacher to guide them, Even with a guiding light like the divine light steel, comprehending it for a few years was considered too little. Comprehension, aptitude, and luck were all very important. Unfortunately, I still can't enter the state of enlightenment. Lin Feng felt regretful and stood up. The epiphany of profound meaning was very crucial, just like the epiphany of blade skills. Simply put, the daily epiphany was an accumulation of power, knowledge, and heart. Only the epiphany could advance on the path of profound meaning comprehension. Thick accumulation was thin. Some warriors would be clear after a few or even dozens of comprehensions. Some warriors could walk to the end of this Upanishad path after just one enlightenment. Everyone was different. However, the words on the steel written by Senior Wei Fu are thought-provoking. Lin Feng looked at the steel, especially at the words in the middle, describing his understanding of the true essence of light. It was the accumulation of decades of experience and cultivation, the crystallization of wisdom. The true essence of light is like the boundless sea. The ocean has countless tributaries, and the true essence of light contains all kinds of paths of light. There are the light lineage, the halo lineage, the radiance lineage, the light lineage, and so on. The sacred lineage is only a part of the true essence of light. All rivers flow to the sea, but the origin of light is the same, like the vast sea water. Lin Feng left the world of profound meaning. Even if he had not comprehended it yet, his accumulation was real. Glory territory, a sea of people. All the elite soldiers and ace soldiers were gathered together, waiting for the prelude to this year's road of glory battle. Especially the appearance of the White Ram Army Lord. Everyone was looking forward to it. For the past 5 years, Yiwu Junju had been in charge. I heard that the White Ram Army Lord is even stronger than Yiwu Junju. It seems like it. Yiwu Junju is always smiling, without any killing intent. But the White Ram Army Lord is different. He is domineering. When he speaks, I don't even dare to raise my head. He is definitely a cruel and merciless lord. Shoo, lower your voice. Aren't you afraid of being heard by the two generals? Lin Feng came alone. Entering the world of mystery, a familiar figure appeared in front of him. Dressed in a red dress, Shimanzi was exceptionally eye-catching even in the midst of a crowd. Lin Feng faintly smiled. He walked over and said, "You're early, because I was waiting for you." Shimanzi smiled faintly. "Waiting for me?" Lin Feng was curious. "Here." Shimanzi handed over a thick booklet. Lin Feng reached out to take it and flipped it open. Instantly, his eyes lit up. Qing Wu's handwriting was neat and tidy. With one look, one could tell that it was written by a woman. On the first page, He Yan's information was clearly written, from his personality to his expertise in martial arts. Flipping to the back, there were Earthwalker, Broken Arm, and Golden Shilin. There was information on by Si, Jinjiu, and even Huashan. It took a lot of effort for him to do so. Lin Feng looked at Shimanzi, his heart moved. "Thank you." Needless to say, it was definitely written by Manzi. Furthermore, it wasn't just a simple collection of information. It also included some of Manzi's suggestions to take advantage of the enemy's weakness. "You're welcome." Shimanzi's phoenix eyes slightly raised. "There's still half an hour. Hurry up. It should more or less be of some use." Lin Feng nodded. There was no need to say any more polite words. Opening the booklet, Lin Feng quickly read through it. Every word was clearly imprinted in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng would never forget it. He flipped through the booklet at a speed of 30 seconds per page. In this booklet, the first one was the third seed of the first group, He Yan. The information was the most detailed and dense. Next was Earthwalker and Handbreaker, the fourth and fifth seeds respectively. Shimanzi was very smart. He Yan, 7th level of Nirvana stage, origin of underworld fire, peerless ordinary. Earthwalker, 5th level of Nirvana stage, origin of savage earth, second awakening of bloodline. Handbreaker, 8th level of Nirvana stage, beware of his broken left hand. It can be reborn from darkness. His self-created severing blade technique specializes in mortal level. The information of every opponent was very detailed. There was no superfluous introduction. It revealed their strengths one by one. There were very few secrets that could be hidden from the experts of the army commander level. After all, the elite army commanders had already gone through countless battles. Their specialties were already known to everyone. 3 spots. The first group's first seed Hong Bao and second seed Li Jun were the 2 strongest. Their strengths were ranked 1st and 8th among the 10 elite army commanders. There was no doubt that the 2 of them would advance. No matter how the rules changed, as long as they had outstanding strength, they could face it calmly. Moreover, the White Ram Army commander had mentioned before that this time, the Glory Alliance 7 selection was more focused. True battle strength. Pa Lin Feng closed the booklet. He finished reading it in 10 minutes. With his memory, he wouldn't miss out on the important parts. Every word appeared in his mind, corresponding to every face. The importance of this booklet was self-evident. Originally, his chances of passing were between 1% and 5%. But now, it had increased to around 10%. Although it was still very difficult, it was much easier to deal with than before. For example, the Earthwalker. This expert who cultivated the savage Earth source and whose bloodline had awakened a second time was extremely proficient in fighting on the ground. The savage Earth source was the fusion of the Earth and Earth. Therefore, fighting him on the ground was a great taboo. Even if he could win, he could use the opportunity to escape through the Earth. If he chased after him, underground was his world. His side couldn't use their strength, but the Earthwalker could use several times their normal strength. Moreover, he had a crafty personality, so he often showed weakness to his enemies. With my strength, I might not be able to win against Jin Shilin, Bai Si, and Jin Jiao, especially since Jin Shilin and Bai Si have already formed an alliance. However, I don't fear them. In a one-on-one battle, it's still unknown who will win. He didn't know if he hadn't fought them. Their close rankings proved that even if there was a difference in strength, it wouldn't be by much. Lin Feng was very clear on this point. Because his battle strength points were high, a large portion of them were refining heart points. In terms of battle strength, he might not be able to beat Bai Si. The key to advancing is He Yin, the Earthwalker, and Armbreaker. Lin Feng thought to himself. The 3 of them were stronger than him, and were all Nirvana stage experts. It wouldn't be easy to snatch the 3rd spot from them. Therefore, Shimanzi had the most detailed information on these 3 people. On the other hand, there wasn't much information on Hong Bao and Li Jun. Lin Feng pondered. Although he didn't know the specific rules of the first round, he at least had an idea. After a long while, Shua, Lin Feng opened his eyes, light flashing. He turned his head to look at Shimanzi. The latter smiled gently and nodded. Good luck. I'll wait for your triumphant return. I will. Lin Feng smiled. Thank you. Then, he walked towards the center of the field. To be continued. Chapter 786. Offing. Qi Jiang smiled and raised his hand. Brother Qi. Lin Feng walked over. It was Brother Qi who had comprehended the profound meaning beside the divine lightstone tablet. He was the 3rd seed of the 5th group. Beside him was a man wearing black flame armor. His hair was messy and black and red colors mixed together. His angular face was like that of a lion, and his eyes were like torches as he looked over. Lin Feng quickly recognized him. The 3rd seed of the 1st group. Hey Yen, Offing, you're a bit late. Are you trying to learn Buddhism? Qi Jiang teased. Yes. Lin Feng smiled calmly. Brother Qi had guessed correctly. Qi Jiang laughed loudly. Relax, just treat it as an exchange of pointers. The goal is to participate. He Yin sneered. Do you think everyone is like you? Old Qi, you've participated dozens of times and have become a wily old fox. His pair of black flame-like eyes seemed to be able to speak as he looked straight at Lin Feng. This is my first time participating. The newborn calf isn't afraid of the tiger. Little Hey, you're wrong. I've been working hard every year, and I've already entered the 3rd round. Qi Jiang patted his chest. This year, I'll also enter the 3rd round. He Yan's eyes were filled with confidence. Very strong. Lin Feng evaluated him in his heart. He Yin was exactly the same as what Manzi's information had said. He Yin was an elite who didn't want to be below others. Infinity long, infinity wind, infinity literature, showing off his ability. If you competed with him, he would do his best to surpass you and would never back down. Brother Chi had only said a few words, but He Yin was already comparing. Too hard and too easy to break. Lin Feng thought to himself. He smiled slightly. When the time comes, I'll be looking forward to your guidance. No need to be so polite. He Yan's eyes were filled with arrogance. I won't go easy on you just because of your relationship with old Qi. What are you saying? Qi Jiang shook his head and curled his lips. The battle hasn't started yet, and we don't know who will win. I say, Lil He, don't be too confident. What if you lose to my little brother? You're going to lose face. Black Flame's eyes were filled with anger as he felt insulted. He pointed at Lin Feng and said, You think I will lose to him? What's so surprising about that? This little brother of mine is ranked 6th in the trump card army. They're dark horses every year. Maybe this year, it will fall into your family's hands. Qi Jiang mocked. Black Flame clenched his teeth and said, If I lose to him, I'll lose to him. Humph, the position of army commander is yours. Qi Jiang gave him a sideways glance. What's the use of your position? Let me think. Why don't you offer him a rainbow star ring? Do you think I'm afraid of you? The veins on He Yan's neck popped out. Lin Feng was a little stunned. In the blink of an eye, the situation had become like this. Seeing Qi Jiang's lips curl up slightly and winking at him, Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Brother Qi had dug a hole for He Yin to jump into. He Yin had been schemed against and was still unaware of it. This was in line with Manzi's evaluation of him in the information booklet. He could be provoked. He Yin and Qi Jiang both spoke one after another. It was an abyss of suffering. Lin Feng didn't disturb them and silently retreated. His gaze fell on the crowd and saw a few familiar faces. Blowing Snow, Yixia, Wu Daozi were all here, and Mohua. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Mohua had changed a lot. After being baptized in the army, Mohua exuded an iron-blooded and fierce temperament. His strength had increased a bit compared to the past. Although he wasn't as lucky as Blowing Snow, he still had talent that wasn't inferior to Manzi. As long as he was given enough time and training, he would definitely be able to shock the world in the second half of the year. He didn't have many friends in Nirvana World, but they all came. Quality was more important than quantity. Brother Lin. A clear voice came from behind. Lin Feng turned around to look. He immediately saw the scholarly Yishu Hang. Today, he was dressed elegantly and held a feather fan. Brother, Lin Feng smiled and greeted him. I didn't expect Brother Lin to have so many friends. You even know an elite commander. Yishu Hang waved his fan. We met not long ago in the Profound Meaning World, Lin Feng said. Profound Meaning World? Yishu Hang's eyes lit up. Brother Lin is also comprehending the divine light. Such a fast deduction. Yishu Hang in front of him seemed to be able to see through people's minds just from a few words. Lin Feng sighed inwardly and said softly, Unfortunately, I haven't made any progress. Using the perfect profound meaning divine light to obtain the light origin is indeed a good path, Yishu Hang said. Moreover, the divine light profound meaning has a restraining effect on darkness and demons. If you can learn it, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The Glory Alliance fought all year round and had to face demons and Yao. The divine light had a very good restraining effect on demons. Right now, I'm carefully studying Senior Wei Fu's comprehension. I'm still far from mastering the profound meaning, Lin Feng said. Hey, Brother Lin, why do you have to study behind closed doors? You can go find the captain and ask him to give you some advice. It's better than cultivating alone, Yishu Hang said. Captain? Lord Lightman? Lin Feng was stunned. Yes. Yishu Hang smiled and said, The captain's divine light is very powerful. Countless heavenly demons tremble in fear. He has already grasped the essence. Brother Lin, you are one of us. The captain is willing to teach you. If you can comprehend it early, Brother Lin's strength will rise to another level. Lin Feng nodded in realization. Thank you for the reminder, Brother E. It's a small matter, Yi Shuhang said. When the first round of selection is over, I'll bring you to the captain. Thank you. Lin Feng smiled. Yi Shuhang laughed and said, Don't be so courteous. Come, let's cheer each other up and pray for good luck in the first round. The ninth seed wants to advance. TSK, TSK, it's harder than ascending to heaven. There were more and more people in the field. It was getting closer to the gathering time. Lin Feng and Yi Shuhang waited quietly. Suddenly, a familiar aura appeared again. The White Ram Army's commander descended from the sky like an overlord. He looked down at the juniors with cold eyes and his hands behind his back. Time's up. The White Ram Army's commander looked around and raised his hand. Pung, pung, pung. On the memory metal board, 4 holes were blasted in. They were the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th groups. The 4 names had already disappeared. The most prominent one was the 5th group. The place where the hole was blasted was where the 9th seed was, the elite commander Gu Jin, who had a 10% chance of advancing. Xiao! From afar, a figure broke through the air. His brows were filled with urgency. Lin Feng looked over. It was Gu Jin who had rushed over. He was late by a split second, but pong! The White Ram Army's commander extended his right palm. A terrifying force blocked him. Get lost. As a soldier, you don't even have a sense of time. The White Ram Army's commander's eyes were cold. Gu Jin, who was half kneeling on the ground, was unable to move. Such terrifying strength. The 56 of you follow me. The White Ram Army's commander did not look at Gu Jin again. He immediately moved to the right. Chapter 787. Entering the Glory Domain. This was the foundation of the Glory Alliance, just like the Blood Tower's mother and son Blood Tower. Hua, Lin Feng's eyes became misty, as if he had entered a fairyland. A familiar feeling filled his heart. Thinking about the Battle of Glory Star last year, a year had passed in the blink of an eye. The difference between him and the goddess Wakaman had not shrunk, but instead became bigger. But he did not regret it. Even if he could do it again, he would still make the same choice. Everyone had their own fate. Also, any effort is useful. Even if you can't see it now, you can't reap it, but one day it will all be returned to you. Lin Feng did not feel that he had wasted this year. He had been working hard, desperately moving forward. That was enough. As the White Ram Army leader stood still, the 56 competitors stopped. Lin Feng looked forward. Sitting in this misty land, there were 6 paths that seemed to lead to the sky, full of mystery and beauty. It was fascinating. Simulated Danger Zone. Lin Feng remembered it clearly. The Battle of Glory Star a year ago was still vivid in his mind. The place he had entered was one of the 6 great danger zones, the door of heaven's wrath. In reality, this place was open to the Glory soldiers. It was a part of the Glory Domain, used to train their battle strength and familiarize themselves with the 6 great danger zones. Entering required battle merits. A normal simulated danger zone required 1 battle merit. A basic simulated danger zone required 10 battle merit. An intermediate simulated danger zone required 100 battle merit, and an advanced simulated danger zone required 1,000 battle merit. It was suitable for normal soldiers, elite captains, and elite commanders to train. Basically, the failure rate was over 90%. An ace army expert of the Sage stage, in terms of bloodline, source points, and other aspects, would surpass the elite army, comparable to an elite commander. Normally, they would choose to enter the most dangerous advanced simulated danger zone. As for going higher, there was no such place. True Nirvana stage experts would often directly enter the 6 great danger zones. That place was thousands of times larger than the simulated danger zones. There was endless training, endless danger, and endless opportunities. Only by standing out could one succeed. Great Nirvana stage experts. As you can see, the first round of the Path of Glory qualification battle will be held in the simulated danger zone. The White Ram Army leader's lips curved coldly, but it is an advanced simulated danger zone. The crowd was in an uproar. The expressions of the originally calm elite commanders and military officers suddenly changed. Lin Feng was also shocked. Apart from the weaker demons and essence with spirits, There were also the natural perils of the 6 great perilous lands, as well as the true heavenly demon experts, and even ferocious beasts. It was not an ordinary sky fiend or sky demon. Primordial heavenly devil, heavenly demon emperor, super dire beast. It was a powerful existence comparable to the human nirvana stage. The death rate of an elite commander entering an advanced simulated danger zone was similarly as high as 90%. Interesting. Lin Feng was delighted. What he was afraid of was the most direct battle, just like the double elimination method used by Yi Wu Junju last year. More than 50 people were divided into 3 groups and fought in the decisive battle space. The top 3 people in each group were chosen for a total of 9 people. Finally, the contestants who were defeated in the first round would fight in a big battle royale, and 6 people would be chosen. However, this is indeed beneficial to the strong. Lin Feng understood. In a chaotic battle, there would be a situation of several against one. The weaker ones would often join forces to eliminate the stronger ones. However, it was different in an advanced simulated danger zone. Like himself, the Golden Qilin, Bai Si's death rate in the advanced simulated danger zone was definitely over 90%. But what about Hong Bao and Li Jun? They can definitely survive in there. Lin Feng was clear, including Black Flame, Earthwalker, Broken Arm, and others. The experienced elite commanders might not be as good as Hong Bao and Li Jun, but their death rate would not be as high as 90%. Lin Feng's gaze swept across. He could clearly see the confidence in the eyes of many of the elite commanders. There is a huge difference. Lin Feng sighed. During the Battle of Glorious Star, he had only entered a level 1 ordinary simulated danger zone. It was suitable for all the soldiers of the official army to enter. It was not even a level 1 simulated danger zone. But now he had crossed 3 levels. It was hard to imagine. General, may I know the battle merits to enter? One of the elite commanders asked. The White Ram general frowned with disdain. A mere 100 battle merits. Do you think I will let you give it to me? There was laughter all around. That elite commander's face turned red. Although there were 56 people and a total of 5,600 battle merits, to a general-level expert, this little bit of battle merits was nothing in his eyes. Silence! The White Ram general shouted. His voice was not loud, but it was enough to intimidate everyone. His gaze coldly swept across. The White Ram general said, "Listen to the rules. I will only say it once. Later on, the strongest person in each group will choose to enter the danger zone. The first group will choose first, followed by the second group." When he finished, Hong Bao, Ji Jishuan, and Ma Yingjie's eyes lit up. The first 3 people had the best right to choose. The last 2 people, Peacock and Great Bright Emperor, frowned. Especially Great Bright Emperor. It was as if he did not have the right to choose. Take your own planet. This will decide your fate. The White Ram general shouted. The time limit is 1 day. After the time limit is up, the 3 participants with the most stars will advance. If the number of stars is the same, the one with the most planets will advance. As expected, Lin Feng was not surprised. He had already guessed that it was related to the planets. However, I only got 2 planets. Lin Feng knew that things were not good. The rules set by the White Ram general were very unfair to the weak. For example, Hong Bao would have the greatest advantage. With 10 stars, even if he did nothing, he would still be able to advance easily. Li Jun, 9 stars. He Yin, 8 stars. Earthwalker, 7 stars. When he said this, more than half of the participants had an ugly expression. Peacock and Great Bright Emperor, who had lost the right to choose, revealed a smile. The rules were completely biased towards their side. Then if the number of stars is the same and the number of planets is the same, how will the ranking be determined? The elite commander who had asked the question earlier softly asked again. The White Ram general glanced to the side. Seeing that it was him again, he could not help but angrily say, "The 2 of you will fight one-on-one. Bowen, why do you have so many questions?" Everyone laughed. Bowen, who was yelled at, shrunk his head back and timidly retreated. I have always been clear about rewards and punishments. I will not go back on my words. The rewards that I mentioned earlier will not go back on my words. The first place of each group will be rewarded with a third-class military medal. If the number of stars is more than 40, the reward will be a second-class military medal. The White Ram general glanced at everyone and sneered. If the number of stars is more than 50, the reward will be a first-class military medal. There was a sound. Hong Bao, Qin Tiansheng, Li Zhen, and the rest had bright eyes. They were so excited that they were trembling. Military medal. Lin Feng knew the use of it. It was very useful in the Glory Alliance. Begin. The White Ram general waved his hand. Chapter 788. There wasn't much time to think of a countermeasure. The White Ram army was swift and decisive. After the explanation of the rules, the strongest elite commander, Hong Bao, was the first to enter. He will definitely choose the God Ruins. Lin Feng had merged with Qi Wan's memories, so he knew about the 6 most dangerous places. The place with the most powerful demons was the Death Knell Graveyard, but the place with the most powerful humans was the God Ruins. Legend had it that the gods used to live here. As expected, Hong Bao laughed wildly and entered the passage of the God Ruins. For a powerful person like him, he had already experienced the real God Ruins. As Hong Bao entered, Li Zhen, He Yin, Earthwalker, and Broken Hand entered one by one. Lin Feng was behind by Si, and behind him was Huashan, whose face was full of jealousy. Whoosh! A familiar wave came, and Lin Feng entered. Ice Crystal Holy Land. A world covered in ice and snow was covered in a layer of colorful rainbow wall. A huge ice crystal stood tall. A group of ace soldiers and elite captains came to watch the show. Here, they could clearly see the first round of the Path of Glory qualification battle from a huge ice crystal. Ah, it's Lord Lightman and Deputy Captain Meng Meng, Goddess Wakaman, Deputy Captain Giant Kuei, Chuan Xi Marquis, Yue, except for Lord Jian, everyone in the second team of Glory is here. Commander He, Commander Wei. Many people came to watch the battle. The ace soldiers could all enter the Ice Crystal Holy Land, while the elite soldiers could only enter with captains and above. All the members of the Glory team were here. After all, they needed to participate in the next round. As a member of the Glory team, it would be very embarrassing if they were eliminated in the second round. Now, it was a good opportunity to observe the strength of their opponents. Sister Manzi, can Brother Lin advance? Yi Xia was a little nervous. She Manzi smiled without saying anything. It could be considered an answer, but it could also be considered not an answer. The chances are not high. Wu Daozi said, Brother Lin's strength is ranked 9th in the first group. Although it is a little underestimated, the first 5 elite captains are too strong. If Brother Lin wants to break through, TSK, it's really difficult. Brother Lin has always been able to make the impossible possible. Little Sister Chue Xue is right. Shi Manzi's beautiful eyes glimmered. I don't know why, but I also feel that he will definitely advance. Yes. Yi Xia clenched his fists tightly. God Ruins. To Lin Feng, this was an unfamiliar place. He was most familiar with the Gate of Heaven's Wrath and Death Knell Graveyard out of the 6 Great Deathlands, especially the one closest to the Qiyu clan. Qi Wan's memories of the Devil Race's main camp, the Death Knell Graveyard, were incredibly clear. I need to read. This place, Qi Fan had never entered it before. In the 6 most dangerous lands, the primordial sky devils were nothing special. Even though Qi Yan had a noble bloodline and was a genius of the Qiyu family, he was only as strong as a top-ranking elite army commander, just like Black Flame and the Earthwalker. Even Heaven Demon Emperor Wu Lin, who had killed Qi Wan and was now in the Blood Mist Forbidden Ground, only had the battle strength of an ace commander. In terms of strength, I'm at most in the middle of the 10. But in terms of experience and familiarity with the God Ruins, I'm afraid I'm ranked last. Lin Feng was very clear that the Path of Glory qualification competition was held once a year. Other than Huashan and himself, the others had participated in it at least 2 or 3 times. It was very likely that the 5 elite army commanders had entered the God Ruins before. After all, this was the region with the most human experts. Even if they had not truly entered, They must have tempered themselves in the glory world. In this aspect, he was at a great disadvantage. There are some benefits to being ranked last. Lin Feng sized up his surroundings. The only benefit of being ranked last was that his opponents might look down on him. Of course, it was only a possibility. The surroundings were abandoned land with messy vegetation growing. In the distance, he could see a mushroom that was 10 meters tall and surrounded by 5 colored thorns. It was extremely strange. Spirits of vegetation. However, this was nothing. The truly strange thing was the shattered ores on the ground, and what a large piece of metal. Lin Feng grabbed a small piece. It was as heavy as 1,000 pounds. It was scattered everywhere, as if buildings had been destroyed. However, these buildings made of metal and ores were different from the Nirvana world. No wonder it's called the God Ruins, a place where the gods once lived. Lin Feng carefully sensed his surroundings. He had half the strength of a sacred power cultivator. He was quite outstanding in sensing danger. However, the Taiyu star was too strong, completely covering the true dragon star. He was very careful. Lin Feng understood that this battle was different from the Battle of Glory a year ago. That day, he was very confident, so he did not fear anything and left the gate of Heaven's wrath. However, today, other participants were not the only ones who were very strong. Even he himself might not be able to survive in the God Ruins. As long as he went out, he would quickly encounter the primordial sky demon, heaven demon emperor, and level ferocious beasts, 3 spots. Lin Feng nodded. A total of 10 planets were 55 points. In other words, as long as he got 18 points, he would be guaranteed to advance. However, it was not necessary to get so many points. In terms of probability, it was most reasonable for the participants to meet in pairs. 5 would be eliminated, and 5 would be left. At that time, the remaining 5 would get 2 planets and continue to fight. In the end, the first place would usually get about 5 planets and at least half of the points. It was very likely that he would be second with 18 points. There would be a lot of variables for third place. At most, he would get 12 or 13 points. At least, he could get 5 or 6 points. There are too many variables. I also have to consider the danger of the God Ruins. A total of 55 points may only add up to 40 points. If I can get 10 points, my chance of advancing will increase by 70%. If I get 8 points, my chance of advancing will increase by 50%. Lin Feng quickly analyzed. The key was how big the entire high-level simulated danger zone was, and what were the chances of encountering other opponents. In any case, with his points, hiding was a dead end. Let's go and take a look. Lin Feng's thoughts flashed as he left the ruins and headed deeper into the ruins. No matter which possibility it was, he had to personally experience it to know the result. There was nothing to worry about. Failure was normal, but if he could win, then it will be interesting. Lin Feng smiled. Ice Crystal's Sacred Realm. This Earth Walker is very cunning. Yi Xia frowned. He has a natural advantage. The demons are mostly active above ground, and only a small number of monsters and spirits of nature are active underground. In terms of adaptability, he's the best in this group, Daozi said. Even He Yin, who's ranked 3rd, would have a hard time against him. It's a bit troublesome. Shi Manzi pursed her lips. He is looking for prey. There are 2 paths in this direction. He might encounter Hong Bao, or he might encounter Lin Feng. Everyone became nervous. The Earthwalker was not weaker than Lin Feng. With a geographical advantage, if Lin Feng encountered him, the result was hard to imagine. To be continued. Chapter 789. Qi. Lin Feng's blade slashed across. Hei Tang was like an unruly black dragon, completely engulfing the essence with spirit in front of him. Heaven rank level 7. Lin Feng could already feel the weak consciousness energy of this essence with spirit. All living things in the world could cultivate. Even non-living things such as stones, gravel, and metals could cultivate under certain circumstances. For example, giving spiritual awareness to demons, the essence with spirit belonged to the plant life form, flowers, and trees. Plant life forms were the same as the demon race. They had 2 paths. One was the path of following the heavens, growing according to the natural laws of the world, bearing spiritual fruits and giving birth to divine fruits. The other path was the path of defying the heavens, cultivating essence with spirit and essence flower spirit. When they reached the peak of heaven rank level 9, they would have to withstand the heavenly lightning tribulation. If they could withstand it, they would gain spiritual awareness and embark on the true path of cultivation. Just like the transformation path of demon beasts, they had to go through 3 lightning tribulations before finally awakening their bloodline and condensing a natal Yuan Dan, becoming a heaven demon expert. Just like Xiao Yun. Strange, it's been so long, but Xiao Yun still hasn't reacted. Lin Feng couldn't help but think of Xiao Yun who was in his body. It had been a long time since the lightning tribulation ended. If he didn't feel Xiao Yun's life force, he would have suspected that something had happened to her. Although awakening the bloodline and condensing a natal Yuan Dan was indeed a long process for a heaven demon expert, Xiao Yun took too long. Could it be that I blocked all 3 lightning tribulations and it affected Xiao Yun? Lin Feng was also a little worried in his heart. He was afraid that his relationship with Xiao Yun would implicate her. However, there was nothing he could do at the moment. I hope everything goes well for Xiao Yun. Lin Feng continued forward. Along the way, he had yet to meet a true heaven demon emperor or primordial demon. He had only met a few demons and essence with spirits, the strongest of which were heaven rank level 7 or level 8. Just like the soldiers of the official army, who cultivated to the nirvana stage, their strength was only equivalent to an elite captain. Of course, the soldiers of the official army couldn't cultivate to the nirvana stage. They either had poor aptitudes or ordinary origin points. They could only reach the saint realm at most. After all, their lifespan was limited. Unless one was blessed with great luck, changing one's aptitude and talent, and recasting one's origin point, only then could one step into the nirvana stage. Such a soldier would have long been promoted to the elite army, so the Glory Alliance did not have an official army commander. Swoosh! Lin Feng's expression changed slightly as he looked towards the northeast. It wasn't the perception of his innate talent, but the feeling of the tyrant dragon avatar. As the darling of the earth, it felt a threat on the spiritual level. Lin Feng knew that this was the avatar sensing a super vicious beast that was much stronger than itself. Primordial heavenly demon emperor, super ferocious beast. Usually, the weakest of the 3 was a super dire beast. However, they were not the same. Compared to the heaven demonic Tharch, super ferocious beasts had stronger physiques. His body was closer to his ancestors, and it was easier for him to awaken the ancient bloodline. In terms of combat strength, the reason why he was slightly weaker was mostly because of his spiritual sense. Although the super ferocious beasts already had the ability to make judgments and strength instincts, compared to the primordial heavenly demon monarch and the heavenly demon monarch's intelligence, the super ferocious beasts were like kindergartners. He was still unable to unleash his full strength. So, Lin Feng headed towards the southwest, away from the super ferocious beasts. There was no need to fight them head-on. Even if the super ferocious beasts were slightly weaker than the primordial heavenly demon monarch and the heavenly demon monarch, their innate talent was still there, and they were much stronger than the essence with spirits and demons. Along the way, Lin Feng had already avoided the super ferocious beasts many times. The God Ruins was a dangerous place for humans, and the Glory Realm simulation was based on reality. Therefore, there were not many primordial heavenly demon monarchs and heavenly demon monarchs. The real threat was the super ferocious beasts, the super divine beasts. Ice Crystal's sacred realm. He avoided them again. Yixia said happily, "Brother Lin's luck is not bad." Snowchue said, "First, the Earth Walker went towards the fork in the road where Hong Bao was, and then he avoided a few super ferocious beasts." Shimanzi said, "He's not lucky. He's intentionally avoiding the super ferocious beasts." That can't be. Brother Lin can sense the super ferocious beasts? Yi Xia's eyes widened. Doesn't that mean his Saint Force cultivation is much higher than mine? The stronger one was, the better one could sense the energy of heaven and earth. No matter if it was Saint Force or Saint Chi, Saint Force cultivators had a huge advantage in terms of sensing. Shimanzi nodded. I don't know how he did it either. Look, Wu Daozi's eyes lit up. The Earth Walker has been discovered by Hong Bao. At this time, the surroundings were in an uproar. The 6 huge ice crystal walls were like mirages that clearly reflected the scene. Almost at the same time, the strongest of the 4th group, Qin Tiansheng, clashed with the elite commander, Han Fong, while Hong Bao clashed with the Earthwalker. Run! The Earthwalker was very straightforward and had no intention of fighting with Hong Bao. But as the strongest elite commander, Hong Bao would not let go of his prey. Not only did he want to get first place, he also wanted to get the military medal. The 3rd-class medal could only be obtained from the 3rd floor of the Glory Treasury. The 2nd-class medal could be obtained from the 4th floor of the Glory Treasury, where there were heaven-level treasures. And if he could obtain the 1st-class medal, he could enter the 5th floor of the Glory Treasury. Of course, the conditions were very strict. He had to obtain more than 50 stars. Roar! A terrifying, trembling aura exploded forth, and the flood hammer soared into the sky. Like a giant spiritual god, it directly smashed the hammer with the sound of thunder and lightning. Bang, 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 it fell, causing the entire ground to tremble violently. The Earth Walker's expression changed drastically. But after all, it was the 4th seed of the 1st group. With a defense-type holy treasure and its own savage Earth source point that was good at defense, it continuously blocked the attack. After a while, Qin Tiansheng is so strong. He took care of Han Fong in just a few moves. He doesn't seem to have used his real strength. He is so calm and composed. No wonder he is the ace captain closest to the Glory team. In terms of battle power, I think Qin Tiansheng should be able to fight against a few members of the Glory team. Hong Bao is too stupid. How could he let the Earth Walker escape like that? Don't blame Hong Bao. The Earth Walker is cunning. He used injuries to lure Hong Bao underground. But Hong Bao's speed is not as fast as the Earth Walker underground. He can't even use 20% of his attacks. Everyone felt that it was a pity. Hong Bao was so close to defeating the Earth Walker. He shouldn't have chased. Wu Daozi shook his head. As long as his aura locked onto the Earth Walker and it stood on the ground, the Earth Walker would not be able to escape. Too rushed. Shimanzi's eyes flashed, and Hong Bao is very confident in his own strength. That's why he was tricked by the Earth Walker and escaped. Oh no! Blowing Snow's expression changed. Everyone was stunned. The direction the Earth Walker escaped in. Yixia also suddenly realized and said anxiously, "It's Brother Lin's position." Shua! Everyone's heart tightened. Chapter 790. Underground. Lin Feng had always been on guard. His true dragon star and talent spirit were constantly probing, including underground. No place was absolutely safe. There would be level beasts underground, heavenly demon emperors lying in ambush, and countless powerful essence with spirits. Earth Walker. Lin Feng clearly remembered the information that Manzi had given him. Earth Walkers who cultivated the savage Earth source point were quite good at Earth and Earth techniques. They were best at sneak attacks underground. How could he not be on guard? I didn't expect to meet him first. Lin Feng didn't avoid the battle. Instead, his blood was boiling. To meet such an opponent in his best condition, it was a good opportunity to test his strength. If he wanted to advance, he couldn't avoid He Yin, Earth Walker, and Armbreaker. Their star points would determine the direction of the 1st group. They were 8, 7, and 6 points respectively. If I win, I'll get 7 points. If I get 9 points, I'll have the upper hand. If I lose, to be able to fight with an opponent like Earth Walker, I didn't come to the path of glory for nothing. Compared to fighting with Hong Bao and Li Jun, who were the top 10 elite commanders, Lin Feng would rather fight with Earth Walker and Armbreaker. Only when the difference in strength wasn't big could he force out his potential. Come! Lin Feng's fighting spirit was boiling. Pa! Pa! Golden light flashed all over his body. Lin Feng was at the 7th level of the titanium grade. He had to go all out against the 4th seed of the 1st group. Taiyu Star spun rapidly. The Taiyu Holy Chi was extremely strong. Although Earth Walker's Savage Earth Star was 2 levels higher, Lin Feng believed that at least in terms of Holy Chi source point, he had the absolute advantage. For Nirvana Realm experts, the Nirvana Realm source point star was the first level, Sage Realm was the second level, Nirvana Realm was the third level, and above that was the Grand Nirvana Realm. With every level, the source point star would transform and strengthen, like a silkworm shedding its skin and growing. Just like Earth Walker's Savage Earth Star. Although it was a perfect fusion of Earth Holy Chi and Earth Holy Chi, it was still a peak first stage. Even if he reached the third stage of the Heavenly Star Realm, he would still be at the peak of the first stage. However, compared to the first stage of the Star Realm, the Earth Walker's Barbarian Star was 100 times stronger than the Barbarian Star's Barbarian Star. However, Lin Feng's Barbarian Star was already stronger than the Barbarian Star's Barbarian Star. Furthermore, he was much stronger. New Broken Sea. Lin Feng's Blade World covered the whole area with his Tai Yu Holy Chi explosion. Look, however, in the next moment, the strong earthquake shattered his Blade World. Creepy laughter sounded from underground, and the strong binding of the earth power came in an instant. The star origin was only a part of the power. Just like the realm of strength, it was the same. To be able to completely shatter Lin Feng's Blade World meant that the Earth Walker's power realm was at least 1 level higher. This is the Earth Walker's ultimate move, Earth World. In a head-on confrontation, Lin Feng knew that according to Manzi's information, the realm of strength was all-encompassing, not just the weapon realm. Although the Earth Walker's World of Palm was only 1 level higher than his, it was a peak first stage, but it integrated the power of the earth into it. The boundless earth that included everything. The power of the integration was extremely terrifying. Ha ha ha! The Earth Walker's laughter was filled with joy and arrogance. It broke out from the ground like a sharp cone. The suppression of the Earth World greatly reduced the power of Lin Feng's attack. The Earth Walker was very proud. However, the moment his Barbarian Holy Chi touched the Barbarian Star's Barbarian Chi, the Earth Walker was stunned. Bang! The new sea break that integrated the profound meaning of light, whirlpool, showed its power. The amplification of the whirlpool body and the power of the whirlpool were comparable to the top profound meaning. However, the real power of the new sea break was the Barbarian Chi, the ultimate Barbarian Chi. The Earth Walker did not expect that Lin Feng, who was bound by the Earth World, still had such a strong attack power. With a bang, it was directly shaken to the ground. The wild laughter turned into a scream. Lin Feng did not gain much of an advantage. Although it was a probing move, the Earth Walker was a Nirvana stage expert after all. The powerful attack directly blasted him into the sky. As expected of an elite commander, Lin Feng's whirlpool body dissipated the impact. In terms of endurance, he was confident. The whirlpool body was not only useful in the whirlpool profound meaning. In terms of resistance, it was also very good. It could dissipate the impact and absorb the energy of heaven and earth. Ta! Lin Feng stopped in the air and waited while accumulating power. It was stupid to fight the Earth Walker on the ground, especially when he might be weaker than the Earth Walker. In the air, his chances of winning would increase a bit. With his ranking, he believed that the Earth Walker would not give up the possibility of taking over the planet. If he won these 2 points, the Earth Walker would have 9 points, the same as Li Jun. According to the ranking rules, he could even be ranked first. Just as expected. Whoosh! The Earth Walker did not hesitate to give up on fighting on the ground. In his opinion, there was no need to be too careful when dealing with a mere Nirvana stage soldier. As long as he went all out, even in the air, he could still use 70 to 80% of his strength. It was enough to win. 10,000 landslide. The Earth Walker shouted and waved his palm. Countless palm prints appeared in the sky. A palm technique that was fused with the peak Earth profound meaning together with the Earth Walker's vast Earth world, locked Lin Feng tightly. However, out of the Earth Walker's expectation, Lin Feng, who was originally bound in the center, suddenly broke free from his bindings. It was an extremely powerful force of aura. Overlord's battle power. Bang! He forcibly occupied an independent area in the Earth world without being restricted. The image of Chi behind Lin Feng was ruthless. The wind whistled, thunder and lightning intertwined, and thunder whirlpools appeared in the air. Facing the Earth Walker's pressure, Lin Feng's battle power exploded. New storm. The strength of the Overlord's battle power was enough to wipe out the Earth Walker's advantage in the Earth world. The Earth Walker used all his strength. Tens of thousands of palm prints that could collapse mountains blasted towards Lin Feng's storm. The savage Earth Holy Chi and Taiyu Holy Chi clashed directly. He was very experienced and could tell that Lin Feng's Taiyu Holy Chi was not as strong as his savage Earth Holy Chi. Even if he could not defeat Lin Feng, he would at least exhaust his Holy Chi. However, he still underestimated Lin Feng. The new storm tore apart the tens of thousands of palm prints. The tiny thunder whirlpools devoured them. In an instant, bolts of violent thunder were released. The small whirlpools gathered into a huge whirlpool, causing the Earth Walker's Earth world to tremble. Lin Feng raised the black skeleton high up like a thunder god descending. Damn it! The gray light in the Earth Walker's hand kept expanding. The heaven-level holy treasure, Ashland Prophecy, appeared. At this moment he was shocked. Who would have thought that a mere soldier, Lin Feng, who was ranked 9th in the first group, would have such strength? It was completely unexpected. To be continued. Chapter 791. Ice Crystal, Sacred Realm. The people watching the first Ice Crystal were in an uproar. The battle between Lin Feng and Earth Walker was completely unexpected. This ace soldier Lin Feng is so strong. He's not at a disadvantage when fighting Earth Walker. It's just the beginning. Earth Walker hasn't used his real power yet. Plus, he was injured before. Look, Earth Walker's strongest heaven-level holy treasure, Ashland Prophecy, is here. It's like an impenetrable defense. It's driven by the holy chi of the savage Earth. It can attack and defend at the same time. Lin Feng will suffer. Plus, Earth Walker still has a trump card. Yeah. Earth Walker's bloodline has already awakened for the second time. Wait, what's going on? Why did Earth Walker escape? Everyone was shocked. Just as the two were fighting, Earth Walker suddenly escaped through the earth. It was really puzzling. At this moment, Shimanzi and the other three had already reacted. Their excitement and nervousness turned to stone. Their expressions were ugly. Above the ice crystal, they saw a towering figure. Hong Bao. Lin Feng and Earth Walker discovered Hong Bao at almost the same time. But Earth Walker had already prepared an escape route. It escaped through the earth again. It was very slippery. The moment Earth Walker left, Lin Feng had already escaped. Hong Bao chased after him and locked onto him with his aura. On the ground and in the sky, Lin Feng couldn't outrun Hong Bao. Earth Walker couldn't either. But under the ground, Hong Bao might not be able to catch Earth Walker. What a pity. Lin Feng stopped and didn't escape. Like a cat catching a mouse, he was locked onto by Hong Bao's aura. It was impossible for him to escape. Instead, running aimlessly would make his situation more dangerous. After all, there were countless dangers in the God Ruins. It was a pity that he couldn't win against Earth Walker. And then Hong Bao came. Bang! Like a giant hammer hitting the air, a sturdy Hong Bao appeared in front of Lin Feng. He was as strong as a titan. He had a violent aura all over his body. He looked ferocious, and one could tell that he was someone who killed people like flies. Oh, it's the little guy from the Ace Army. Hong Bao's eyes lit up. Hello, Master Hong, Lin Feng said with a smile. Hong Bao was startled, and then he laughed wildly. Kid, don't think that I won't kill you just because you flatter me. Yes. Lin Feng smiled. Hong Bao revealed a satisfied look. I thought it was broken arm and black flame. I didn't expect you to be able to fight with that cunning fox Earth Walker. I have a whole new level of respect for you. As he said this, Hong Bao sized up Lin Feng again. Why aren't you running? I can't run anymore, Lin Feng replied. No matter how he ran, he would not be able to escape Hong Bao's aura lock, so there was no need to waste his strength. Hong Bao laughed and said, At least you have some self-awareness. Since you are honest, hand over the 2 planets and kill yourself. This will save your reputation. Being defeated in front of so many people was indeed quite hurtful. Lin Feng smiled confidently. He took out 2 planets and waved them around. "Give it to me," Hong Bao said. Whoosh! Lin Feng just waved the 2 planets and then hid them, causing Hong Bao to be startled. His eyes flashed with anger. "It seems that you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Does Master Hong really want this 2 planets?" Lin Feng asked a question that caused Hong Bao to be dumbfounded. "Nonsense." Hong Bao's smile turned into disdain. "To qualify?" Lin Feng asked again. "Oh." Hong Bao wanted to answer yes, but then he thought about it and frowned. "Let me say it for you, Master Hong." Lin Feng smiled. "With Master Hong's strength, there is no doubt that you will qualify. The key is the reward. First place will be rewarded with a 3rd-class military merit medal. Over 40 stars will be rewarded with a 2nd-class military merit medal. Over 50 stars, then you will be rewarded with a 1st-class military merit medal." Hong Bao nodded. A military merit medal. It made one's index finger twitch. "What kind of reward does Master Hong want?" Lin Feng asked. This time, Hong Bao didn't hesitate. "Nonsense. Don't tell me you don't want a 1st-class military merit medal and want a 3rd-class military merit medal. So Master Hong wants to get 50 stars? Lin Feng asked. "Of course." Hong Bao patted his chest. "I want to prove to everyone that I, Hong Bao, am the strongest in the 1st round." Lin Feng smiled. "Because of this, Master Hong, not only can you not kill me, you have to protect me." Hong Bao's eyes widened like copper bells. Protect a little guy? Did he have nothing to do after eating? Let me make a simple assumption from Master Hong. Lin Feng looked at Hong Bao. If Lord Hong obtains 50 star points in the end, then how many star points will the 2nd and 3rd rankers obtain? Hong Bao was stunned. Lin Feng said, "Add up to 5 stars. In other words, the possibility is very low. The remaining 2 rankers may get 4 stars and 1 star, 3 stars and 1 star, 3 stars and 1 star, 3 stars and 1 star respectively. There are 4 possibilities, right?" "That's right." Hong Bao nodded. "Master Hong, if you kill me, if you take away 2 stars, then the 2nd and 3rd rankers will have their stars reduced by half again. There are only 2 possibilities left." Lin Feng said 4 stars and 1 star, 3 stars and 1 star, because there are no more 2 stars in Master Hong. Your key is the number 1 ball. You have to protect the 10th seed, Huashan, and protect either Jinjiu or by sea. Only then can you succeed. Hong Bao understood this time. "So, you want me to let you go?" Lin Feng smiled. "Dare I ask, Master Hong, who are the remaining 2 rankers? Do they affect you?" Hong Bao shook his head. "Then it's settled." Lin Feng said, "Defeating me here will do you more harm than good, Master Hong. Once all of us with low star points die, the only ones left will be the 2nd and 3rd seeds. Even if their star points don't change, they will still have 9 and 8 points. Master Hong, not only will you not be able to obtain 50 star points, it will also be difficult for you to obtain 40 star points. The rules are very clear. Once there are only 3 people left in the simulated danger zone, the 1st round will end." Hong Bao felt a little dizzy. However, he quickly understood that for the contestants who were determined to advance to the next round, they would not let Lin Feng leave. However, for a powerhouse like him who was determined to obtain rewards, keeping Lin Feng, who owned planet number 2, was undoubtedly the best choice. At the very least, he would occupy a spot. "You are right. My considerations were too one-sided." Hong Bao frowned. His previous plan was to defeat everyone, take all the planets, and unify the 1st group. It would be simple and clean. But he suddenly realized that he had missed out on one possibility. Once there were only 3 people left in the 1st round, then those 3 people would directly advance. "Many thanks." Hong Bao laughed heartily, brushing past Lin Feng. "Smart little fellow, I owe you a favor. Remember not to wander around. Find a place to hide. You only have 1 day. Wait for me to take care of Li Jun, Hei Yin, and Earthwalker. Then you'll be able to ascend to the heavens and return this favor." "All right. Then I will wait for Master Hong's good news." Lin Feng bid farewell to Hong Bao. Looking at the back of the departing figure, he revealed a crafty smile. He did not think that he would be able to muddle through like this. Chapter 792. Ice Crystal Saint Realm. At this moment, everyone was dumbstruck and dumbstruck. What happened? How could Lin Feng and Hong Bao be like friends? They clearly didn't know each other, but they were chatting happily and didn't fight at all. This made the group of elite officers who were prepared to see Lin Feng make a fool out of themselves. Sister Manzi, what happened? Yixia didn't understand. I don't know. She Manzi rested her chin on her hand and looked at Ice Crystal with her beautiful eyes. Wu Daozi laughed. Although Hong Bao isn't stupid, he's much worse than Lin Feng. Although I don't know what happened, I'm sure Hong Bao was cheated. From Hong Bao's smile, he should have been cheated quite badly. He was sold and still helped count the money. Chue Shui couldn't help but laugh, and Shi Manzi also laughed. The two women immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people, especially Shi Manzi, whose beauty was out of this world. Lin Feng didn't lie to Hong Bao. Of course, what he said wasn't entirely true. From Hong Bao's point of view, it was indeed reasonable. The God ruins are very small, Lin Feng thought. Accurately speaking, they were currently in a part of the high-level simulated danger zone that was specially used for the test. He had entered a normal simulated danger zone before, and it was much larger than the current God ruins. At that time, he could easily hide his position, but he couldn't do so here. The White Ram Army's leader said from the start that this is a battle of strength, and luck will be reduced to a small part. Plus, there's only 1 day left, so it's even more urgent. Lin Feng already had a clear judgment of the situation. He had already seen the border of the God ruins half an hour ago, and now he had met Earthwalker and Hong Bao. This was enough to prove that the first round was a head-on clash. Want to hide? Too naive. The first round is destined to be the survival of the strong. One person will take 50 points, and the other two will advance by hiding. Lin Feng smiled calmly. He didn't lie to Hong Bao. Of course, there was this possibility. As long as Hong Bao was lucky enough to meet Li Jun, He Yin, and the others in a short period of time. It wasn't impossible. However, the probability was definitely less than 1%. The White Ram Army's leader isn't stupid. How can there be such a good thing in the first round? Lin Feng sighed. That was a treasure that could allow one to enter the 5th level of the Glory Treasury, to exchange for a perfect heaven rank holy treasure. It was of a higher grade than his supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, the Black Lotus. In the Glory Alliance, the lowest price is 10,000 battle merits, and it requires the Glory level. Lin Feng naturally yearned for it, but to him, a perfect heaven-ranked holy treasure was too far away. Not to mention the first-class military medal. It would be difficult to even obtain a second-class military medal in the first round. There are still 2 more rounds of screening. Why would the White Ram Army's commander take out the real reward so early? Lin Feng smiled and let it pass. After a short period of recovery, Lin Feng set out once more. In terms of battling power, he might only be in the middle, but in terms of resisting attacks and recovering power, he was definitely one of the top warriors. The power of the whirlpool body was not only in the profound sense, but also in its recovering power. With the experience of fighting with the Earthwalker, Lin Feng already had a rough understanding of his own strength. I can compete with the Earthwalker, but the chances of winning shouldn't be more than 10%, Lin Feng said. The Earthwalker he had fought before had clearly been injured, and they had not fought on the ground. Even so, he had only fought to a draw against the Earthwalker who had yet to unleash his bloodline power. Even if Hong Bao did not appear, it would be very difficult to defeat him. It was more likely that both sides would be injured. Even if he was lucky enough to win, the Earthwalker would definitely escape through the earth. It's not easy to get his 7 points. Lin Feng sighed softly. There were only a few people who could injure the Earthwalker. Coupled with Hong Bao's appearance, it was not difficult to determine that the Earthwalker had been injured by Hong Bao. The Earthwalker could even escape from a battle with Hong Bao, let alone fight him. If he encountered the Earthwalker again, he would avoid him if he could. The Divine Spirit ruins are too small. It's destined to be a massacre. Lin Feng carefully sped through the ruins. Huge metal blocks could be seen everywhere. The number of stars for the 3rd advancement might be very variable. Previously, he had estimated that there was a 70% chance of advancement, but due to the small size of the Divine Spirit ruins, it was probably reduced to 50%. I can't rely on luck. I still have to take the initiative and try to get as many points as possible. Lin Feng searched everywhere. Currently, the one he was most afraid of was not Hong Bao. It was the second seed, Li Jun. He was proficient in formations and was a very smart enemy. Boom, boom. Golden light shone resplendently, and a strong wind blew. The golden Qilin was fighting against two primordial sky demons alone. The Qilin cloud rod in one hand danced in an airtight manner, while the two supreme heavenly saint weapons in the other hand were sometimes combined into one and sometimes split into two. The supreme grade nightmare lightning star burst out with the power of the second stage. The destructive power of the nightmare lightning was endless. Perfect fusion. The golden Qilin's nightmare lightning sacred Qi was extremely destructive. However, the two primordial sky demons were not to be trifled with. They were both upper-tier primordial sky demons. In reality, the Divine Spirit Ruins was the main camp of humans. 99% of those who entered were humans, just like how 99% of those who entered Death Knell Graveyard were demons. But it was precisely because of this that even more powerful demons and monsters were attracted to this place. Those who dared to enter the Divine Spirit Ruins were the weakest primordial sky demons. Including the true human experts, many would choose to enter Death Knell Graveyard to temper themselves. That was the true path to slaughter. Damn it, Huashan, this bastard is so cunning. Bai Si shouted angrily. His movement technique was like a gentle breeze, bringing with it traces of white light. Holding a dagger, Bai Si was also fighting against two primordial sky demons. However, compared to the Golden Qilin, Bai Si was obviously at a disadvantage. Firstly, his strength was slightly weaker than the Golden Qilin. Secondly, defense was not his forte. Currently, Bai Si's body was covered in blood. For Huashan to be able to become the strongest soldier of the trump card army, he is definitely not an ordinary person. We have underestimated him. The Golden Qilin's forehead flashed with a trace of fierce light. The two rods were covered in golden light, and the rods were sparkling in the wind. He shouted, "Let's get rid of these four primordial sky demons first." "I will risk it." Bai Si gritted his teeth. "Huh, two idiots. You still haven't fallen into my trap." In the distance, Huashan was very confident. His face was like white jade, and the corners of his eyes were slightly raised. He was the one who had meticulously set up the trap and schemed against the Golden Qilin and Bai Si. All is fair in war. Don't blame me. With a cold snort, Huashan raised his head. "So what if I am ranked last? I can still advance." Lin Feng? Heh. Unfortunately, we can't make use of him. However, he should have been eliminated long ago. What is there to be arrogant about? Isn't he just ranked 6th? What is there to be arrogant about? Huashan's eyes were filled with jealousy as he snorted. Suddenly, Huashan felt an inexplicable chill run down his spine. His brows furrowed as he turned his head and saw a figure approaching from afar. Huashan's complexion immediately changed. To be continued. Chapter 793. It is indeed him. Lin Feng had discovered Huashan long ago. He had only sensed him vaguely and did not probe carefully. After all, he would be discovered when he sensed others. Lin Feng could not help but smile when he saw Huashan. Enemies were bound to meet. After the Earthwalker and Hong Bao, he had finally found a prey. Huashan was probably the only opponent he had 100% confidence in defeating, even though he only had 1 star. There was basically no difference between winning and not winning. After all, other than himself and Huashan, the 8th seed Bai Si all had 3 stars. However, personally eliminating Huashan was still a delightful matter. Lin Feng, Huashan's handsome face turned green. "When did you come?" "Oh." Lin Feng looked at Huashan. Huashan's reaction was out of his expectations. Huashan could either fight or run. However, Huashan now looked as if he had done something bad and was caught by Lin Feng. His expression, demeanor, and flickering eyes all betrayed him. As a saint power cultivator, Lin Feng could completely sense Hua Shan's mixed emotions. "What are you doing?" Hua Shan drew his sword. His eyes revealed a wolf-like vigilance. Pung! Hua Shan's sword world expanded as he stared at Lin Feng. "What do you think?" Lin Feng smiled and drew out Black Skeleton. In an instant, a dark black light enveloped him. The power of a top-quality Heaven Saint weapon suppressed Hua Shan's sword aura. Pung! Lin Feng's blade world was even better than Hua Shan's. Although they were both at the first level of perfection, Lin Feng's aura was obviously stronger. Boom! Hua Shan was completely suppressed. "Lin Feng, we are on the same team." Hua Shan took a step back and said, "We should team up and not kill each other here. You, don't forget that I am the vice captain." Ta! Lin Feng did not speak. He walked forward and spoke with his actions. "If you come any closer, I won't be polite anymore." Hua Shan's eyes were about to pop out. "Don't think that I am afraid of you. I just don't want to cause more trouble. I will say it again. If you turn back now, I will pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, I will teach you a lesson on the battlefield." Cut the crap. Lin Feng's gaze was sharp. The strength of the aura completely overwhelmed Hua Shan's sword world. Lin Feng shouted as he activated his overlord's battle prowess. The grand serenity holy chi exploded from his body like a ferocious tiger roaring out of the mountains. Hua Shan's body trembled violently as he gritted his teeth. "You forced me to do this." Lin Feng, Hua Shan's handsome face twisted. Screech. The sword energy was like a poisonous snake hidden in the dark. Hua Shan's speed was quite fast. To be able to become the vice captain of the Kuei squad, his strength was not bad. Although he was only in the 9th rank of Nirvana, his source point and bloodline were the best. His immersion in the Tao of Darkness was unparalleled in the Ace armies. His sword was hidden in the darkness. Hua Shan's strength exploded rapidly, but he encountered Lin Feng. Lin Feng was stronger than him in every aspect. "New landslide," Lin Feng shouted. "Heavy without an edge, the most suitable to bully the weak." Boom! Ice Crystal Sacred Realm. Good. Yixia clenched his fist and was extremely excited. Looking at Hua Shan's disappearing figure, Yixia's brows were filled with joy. After knowing the truth about Zixuan, he hated Hua Shan very much. But he could not take revenge. This matter was consensual. He had already suspected it. But what could he do? He could not bear to part with Zixuan. He would rather go against his conscience and choose to believe her lies. Everything that happened after was his own fault. Hua Shan, one day, I will personally take revenge. Yixia bit his lip until it bled. He was very upset when he saw Lin Feng kill Hua Shan. An inexplicable carefree feeling flowed through his body. The feeling was unparalleled. Wu Daozi clicked his tongue. Brother Lin's sword technique is really getting stronger. In the Ace Army territory, everyone is comparing Lin Feng to Hua Shan. What a joke. Shimanzi chuckled. Hua Shan is like a frog at the bottom of a well. He does not know how big the sky is. Strength is not just about battle strength points. Blowing Snow nodded. Brother Lin is much stronger. What do you think? Lightman asked. Beside him were two beauties with their own unique features. The one on the left was petite and dainty. Her skin was fair and tender, and her neat bangs were flawless. Despite her small stature, she was quite strong. Qianni Ruo didn't dare to move an inch when he saw her. She was the only sacred power cultivator in the Glory Team, Meng Meng. She was also the vice captain of the first Glory Team. People called her Sister Meng Meng. His strength seems to be not bad, but Meng Meng pouted her red lips and tilted to the right. Ruan Meng, is he really a good person? A good person? Beside Lightman and Meng Meng was the goddess Wakaman. Her untainted temperament was like a mist. Now that she had reached the 7th level of the Sage Realm, her temperament was even more ethereal. She was like a high and mighty fairy, but she looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. Maybe, Meng Meng tilted her head. So he could be a bad person? Why do you say that, Meng Meng? Lightman asked. Meng Meng pointed to the front. Isn't he a member of the Kuei team? Didn't he just kill the vice captain? After saying that, Meng Meng crossed her arms and snorted. At that time, If he were to join our team, I, as the vice captain, would be bullied by him. Light Man laughed. How can you mix it up? The path of glory qualification battle is an individual battle. It has nothing to do with teams. Who said so? Meng Meng disagreed. If he meets Ruan Meng, he will not be able to do it. Don't you think so, Ruan Meng? Goddess Wakaman nodded slightly. Yes. She also told the truth. Light Man smiled bitterly and shook his head. God's ruins. 2 planets, 3 points. Lin Feng nodded. Unless the time limit was not up and there were only 3 people left, it was undoubtedly a fool's dream to advance with only 3 stars. Killing Huashan was just a small test. If even Huashan, who was the weakest in strength, had fallen into a difficult battle, there was no need to fight at all if he encountered Black Flame, Broken Hand, Golden Kylan, and others. Huashan was strong in appearance, but weak in reality. Perhaps his talent and potential were indeed high, but potential was not equal to strength. From the time I found him to the time I approached, Huashan did not move. What is he waiting for? Lin Feng thought of Huashan's abnormality before and thought. It was impossible for Huashan to hide, because no one would hide so casually. The surroundings were open and the line of sight was clear. It was not a good hiding place at all. Obviously, Huashan was doing something bad, so when he first saw him, he is a little guilty. Lin Feng closed his eyes and thought of Huashan's expression and the direction of his body. Over there? Lin Feng opened his eyes and turned 15 degrees. Let's go take a look. Lin Feng's figure flashed and disappeared.